Trying to decide, like, do I come in full force today? Do I come into the year full force? Mars or Pluto? Like, which side do I come in? Do I start this stream with? And then I was gonna come in with some real weird stuff. And then I go, well, it's been a while since I live streamed, and I might have some new people here, and they're maybe not ready for that. Maybe later in the year when Uranus is in Gemini. We'll bring that up later. Maybe later in the year when Uranus is in Gemini and sextiling Pluto. Maybe we get really weird. So today I'm like, no, this Empower Hour, this thing, this my face on the screen, hey, what's Pluto doing? It's kind of like coming at you. See that? You notice that? And then like Mars isn't so sure of itself. It's a little frustrated. So I was like, okay, I'll come in with a little bit of tabla, a little bit of something, right? Because I think here, this sort of groovy chill thing, you're going to have to remember this place. Because we shoot out of the gate here in the first 3 months of the astrological season, and there's a lot going on. And so, saying that, I want to say hi to everybody joining in. We'll come back to this little slide I got going on over here. We'll come back to this place. We'll come back to that, won't we? Yeah. We'll come back to that. Hey, what's up? I don't even know what to say. I would do the stream. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about things and let things flow, right? But, hold on a second. That's how it is all the time here in this space, to be honest. Besides the social media posts and these streams and the videos that I make and the client sessions and everything. Honestly, when I'm not connected and I'm in this world, my world, that's how there's a real deal right there. So welcome to the live stream. Happy New Year, everybody. I'll look in chat here in a second. Just want to say, I don't think I've ever heard any other... Well, that prosperous New Year, like in other languages, like Año Próspero Nuevo. But like a lot of people say Happy New Year, and I get it. I was trying to think of other synonyms that would be happy, like sort of, but constructive New Year, isn't it? And some people are afraid to set goals right now, and a lot of people are thinking they're going to set goals and attain them. But in this moment, right now, I'm going to say I'm happy and pretty somewhat content for the technology's working so far, and you're here and I'm here, and it's the first day of January. And for some of you out there, it's the second day. You already did some of this, but again, I want to thank everybody for coming in and saying what's up, and Happy New Year to all of you, wherever you are out there. Dex Bettina, Happy New Year in chat. I see you in there along with Tara. And James Sanders, a paid subscriber to my channel. Thank you, James, for the support. GME, thank you for being here. Esmeralda, hello to you in chat. You're watching this on mobile. You'll see the chat underneath. You're on desktop. You'll see it here. I don't know how it is on your 60-inch TV, how that's working. I always think about that. Anna, here I am. What's up, sister? How are you? And I'm glad you're here. Nadia says hi to everybody in the blessed 2025. Oh my God, it's 2025. It's halfway through the decade, people. Think about that. Think about 2019 and then 2020 and what happened a month later in 2020 and how we just got shot through these years to now. Angela in chat, Nadia and then Angela, another paid subscribers to my channel. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. Steffi G is throwing up a super chat here on me already. Thank you so much with the goals thing. And can I do this here? I will see if I can bust this out on the screen like I do. I don't know how good it will be. There it is there. I'm seeing some of you chat. Steffi G, thank you for busting out a donation. Glacier Hexagon, slow and steady is very good. Well, it goes along with your name, Glacier Hexagon. Thanks for being here. Scorpio Muse, another paid sub to my channel. Blessings for a new year. Blessings to you, Scorpio Muse. I'm glad you made it. Maria, happy new year to you. Ray Weather, happy first day of the new calendar year. Yes, and there's several calendar years ahead of us here in the next month because I think for many people, the Lunar New Year is going to happen at the end of the month, but we're at that place. Thanks for being here, Ray. Cosmic Plumbing to coming out hot and heavy. Thanks for the super chat. Well, that's the way to come in, hot and heavy. Yeah, is there a song called Hot and Heavy? I just want to acknowledge, Angela, I see the super chat you threw in here too. Thank you for that. Yeah, right there. I got it. 5th time with a Taurus glyph. I see how you're rolling. I'm rolling that way too. Patrick, what's up, homie? Can't go back, never come back. No, you can't. But astrologers, we're always going back, aren't we? Always going back to the damn calendar. Some of us forget. Some of us astrologers, I wrote that on my newsletter today, that's what we do. We're looking back, we're looking forward. That's what we do. It says total calendar watching constantly. Anyway, Patrick, happy new year. And Earth Stara, happy new year to you in chat. Angela, busting out the super chat. You got it. No problem with the live stream. It's been a while since I've done one of these and a call-in thing. Let's hope that works. Sarah, happy new year to you. Metlin in chat. Dale Dobson. Denise is in here from Berkshire, UK. You're up late with me. Over there. And yeah, Dale, I see you. And here another super chat. You guys are already hit my goal here soon. JRP Jelly, you made it to alive. You did. And Earth Star, thank you for the kind words in chat. For anybody else watching, and you're new here, my name's Nicholas Polimonacos, Sparkles of Gold. Maybe you found me in the last 2 weeks. Maybe you found me in the last week because I put up 12 rising sign videos up there, which was an adventure to do. Or you never get to do this and you have the day off, and that's why I picked this time. It's like, who's going to show up here and who the hell's hungover? Who's hungover and who's not? And Denise says they're watching in bed. That sounds comfy that you can do that, Denise. Thanks for being here from the UK. All right. So saying that, yeah, let's how do I start here today? I could start in on a chart. I could, but let's just go to my face. Let's just start on my face. Okay, 2024, major Pluto movements, right? We know that. I'm going to say on a personal note, it was a fascinating year for me. It tested me in so many ways for doing YouTube and as a practice. And yeah, maybe that lighting is kind of weird. Maybe I will do it just a little bit there, red. So yeah, it tested me here from the volume, from whatever, to the times I couldn't do this and I didn't feel like it and I didn't do videos for a while, just doing live streams. I learned so much this year that I feel really good about the upcoming year on this channel. And I would definitely utilize the astrology the upcoming year as for themes and narratives. But the main narrative that carries over from the last year is the Pluto and Aquarius narrative that I am still on here. And here we are today. Officially tomorrow, we have a Mars-Pluto opposition that we're in the throes of. We already had some wild incidents this morning in the news. I've seen some crazy stuff that literally dealing with stuff that's very destructive, unfortunately. My heart goes out to people out there have to deal with this, coming in the year. It's just like, man, people are tripping. And so there's that part of it. There's the other part of carrying over from last year that I've done in this channel when it comes to a certain type of long-term empowerment in the Aquarius part of your chart. And many times I brought up about these mantras and the promises that you make to yourself, and my promises videos and the things I did last February when Pluto at that point was in Aquarius and had Mercury and Venus and these planets coming through, and this thing that I cannot let go of, and I don't think I'll ever let go of while I'm on this channel and doing astrology, and it's for the next 20 years. What happens to you and your Aquarius part of your chart for the next 20 years? And since we're at the beginning parts of this and dealing with an end of certain election cycles that have happened in the world, the politics, the economics of everything, your own stories, and how this has all kind of come to a place, I am of the philosophy and the mindset of being very real with all of you. I am a positive person. I'm also realist and I'm cynical at times, but I understand the state of things for many people. But I always try to find a something, if possible, whether it's a seed that you find for yourself or in my mind that could be constructive and turn into something that's constructive, or it's something that immediate that one can feel connected to and empowered to themselves. That is my theme, and it will continue this year on this channel from a Plutonian perspective. So I just want to say that I'm not letting go of promises that I made to myself and to those on this channel, and for those who've never been here, it's this thing, these 3 slides. I mean, it really starts here. I trust it, right? I trust myself. You all know this by now, some of you. You're prepared, or you're preparing by trusting yourself with whatever it is, whatever tools you're using. And you're talented enough. You could start at whatever slide. You could do whatever you want with that one. You could start whatever order, or you can make your own stuff up. But, for me, it's a thing that is relentless. There will be things this year and in the world that are so intense that can be so overwhelming for people. And I believe in simplicity with astrology in the end and in life. I tell myself that when I need to, and the tools that we need to keep it together, right? To surf through things. But remember, look in your lives. When it's out there and it seems chaotic, there's always something that's the opposite of that. There's always something that's beautiful and calming and peaceful, amazing and euphoric. It's always there. So remember that. And if you could tie in those things this upcoming year to how, let's say, you support your autonomy and individuality in a healthy, positive way by using creativity, by using mantras, whatever it is for you. So regardless of what happens out there and how intense it is, you know how to take care of yourself. And soon, as I've said, you'll be doing that with other people if you haven't already. And we'll need it more than ever. So that is my code. That is my philosophy in everything that I do, whether it's here on the channel or it's one-on-one with a client or strangers on the street. That's where I come from, okay? So saying that, let's jump to a couple things here. I got a lot I want to do today in this. Happy New Year, Astro Stephanie in chat. Alex D's in here too. I have a lot I want to talk about today, and we'll talk about some of the things. So carrying the Pluto story with us, and we are carrying a Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune story that we're in the throes of right now. We have done that too. And so let me actually do that just to get this up here, because here is a chart right now of August 19th of 2024, when we had the first Jupiter-Saturn square that was starting off this journey that we're currently in now. You could see this first square where Saturn was retrograde and Jupiter was moving forward at a certain blazing pace, and Mars was right there with it, right? You can remember this stuff. All right, so it was the first chapter. And then here we are, if I can find my pages, here was the next one that just happened. On December 24th, we had another Jupiter-Saturn square. This time Saturn is forward, strong, and Jupiter is way out of its league and way past its boundaries in Gemini. That happened with a Mercury retrograde that was building in November and December, Mercury just stationing forward And interestingly enough, today and tomorrow, Mercury will be moving out of its shadow phase in Sagittarius. I think the new moon that happened earlier this week is a critical part of the Saturn Jupiter square that's going on, how we're starting off the year here. I think it's a grounded, very serious place that has a little bit of hope in it, actually. And if you can embrace a Saturnian story in your chart, I think it will save your ass, basically, when it comes to the scatteredness and mutability places, what has happened with the Mercury retrograde. Mercury right now starting to move forward in Sagittarius with finally some clarity, something that it finally pulled of knowing. Finally, it knows what the hell the last 2 months of the Mercury retrograde story is, and this feeds the whole Jupiter-Saturn square story. So it is a code, and it is a mantra. You know, Mercury and Sagittarius could be heavily long-winded. Hopefully, it's a sentence or two. You feel me? And then with that, it's because of Saturn squaring Jupiter, squaring, Mercury, and wanting discipline and structure to this story. And embrace this. If you're having a hard time, please embrace it. Others have. I'm embracing it fully, along with this new moon that just so happens to be a New Year's week. So, I guess goal setting, goal planning, I wouldn't put too much like something's going to happen tomorrow, but from an intentional point of view, the transits in a way are supportive of this. And so I feel really good about it. And you know me in the way I talk about Saturn on this channel, this reality planet that doesn't mess around. But if you can embrace temporary rule sets that Saturn brings in your life, and it feeds into what Mercury and Sagittarius, where it kind of corrals those thoughts and those visions and the pontification of all this stuff, and you get it to a singular truth, and then walk with that to climb the mountain. That's my take on it. Okay, so I want to say, hey, GME, thank you for a super chat that's dropped in here. That is very kind of you to help me start off the year this way. You got it. Thank you so much. I'm all about it. I'm all about it because I'll be honest, I'm all about this year. I gotta up my game in a lot of ways. This helps me. So here I'm talking about that. So let me show you something here, because here's the second one here. And this is the chart here for the third Jupiter-Saturn square in this cycle. And here we are all the way to June 15th here. I'm starting off the stream this way on purpose, but I want you to know of a story here that's like a year in the making. And really is part of a story that happened when Jupiter was in Aquarius and Saturn was in Aquarius in 2020. Late there, where they had a conjunction at 0 degrees. And that was a birthing moment here. And here we are in a challenging square, the next major chapter in the story around that time. So here we are, June 15th of this year. And interesting here, when the third one happens, Jupiter's not in Gemini. It will be just ingressed into Cancer. And Saturn will be just ingressed into Aries. And notice that this third square in the cycle has a smidgen, maybe not a smidgen, a force of Neptune along with this here on this square. So if you have been affected by these squares and whatever, please pay attention to this. And I'm also gonna point out one thing here that is a theme this year, is this 0 and 1 degree cardinal place here, which is such an important place in astrology, the Aries point. We have a situation here is 1 and 2 degrees, but 0, it's right there. And this particular place in degree is of major importance this year and even into 2026. Okay, so I started the stream off this way just to do a little thing of carrying 2024 with us along with Pluto, etc. Right? Obviously, there's a Saturn and a Neptune story in Pisces, so on and so forth. Okay, so saying that, let's not go to there's my face. It says the call-in show, which will happen. But let us start here with this. Here, we start off with a bang here because we're doing Mars-Pluto opposition here right now. But we are in the middle of a major Mars retrograde that's happening that started in Leo. Let me see if I can get this right. I'll go to the next slide. It shows you here. It's this Mars and Leo retrograde started November 3rd. at 0 degrees when it pretty much, Mars went into 0, and then it went retrograde around that time. Sorry, my brain's gone. And then here we are, January 6th, which is tomorrow. No. It's in a couple days where Mars will be out of Leo and going into Cancer. And then basically, I did these slides in a weird way. And then April 17th, Mars will be in Leo again at 0 degrees. Whatever. That I did it in a funny way today. So let me do this to the backslide. But it's tomorrow that Mars goes back, or on January 6th, Mars goes back to Cancer. Now, for me, it's very important that you know, give me a second. Any of you in the Cancer part of your chart, you got planets there. You actually have Mars in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, whatever it is. This is a monumental transit. You cannot ignore the next couple months here. And what we basically want to go back to is October 4th here, October 4th and November 4th, because that was a critical part of the Mars and Cancer transit at the time. As a reminder, Mars went into Cancer originally on September 4th. Okay, and then when we get to the October 4th part of that time, that's what you want to map out in your notes, the October 4th and the November 4th part. That particular month and those degrees, which go from 17 Cancer to 29 Cancer, are about to get reviewed starting on January 6th. And this is going to happen for the next several weeks here when we review this period. So basically, you see here from January 6th to February 23rd, we're going to do this space with Mars in Cancer, and it goes all the way back to 17 degrees. If you have anything in Cardinal or you have anything in Cancer there, this, regardless of the other transits going on, pay attention to this, and you're having a review, a revamping, a redefinition in the Cancer part of your chart. Any of you Cancer risings out there, go watch my video that I did on the year on this, because I talk about how Mars is very prominent here. And, again, we're actually, Mars isn't known as a digging planet, but it is known as an inflammation planet. And so in one way, a lot is getting pushed up to the surface from an emotional level in the Cancer story here. And this is not to be taken lightly. And I think even this week and tomorrow with this Mars-Pluto thing happen, even though Mars is retrograde in Leo, it is part of this. It is part of this. And so the frustration of Mars not being able to function on all cylinders like it likes to do, the inflammation, the cutting, the abrasiveness, Mars has to put its will into something, into the world. It comes from a source place, and then it shoots out from a source place, basically. And when it cannot do that, what does Mars energy do? Get abrasive, sidetracked, warring, fighting? What is it? Does it go internal? Is it an internal conflict within in the Cancer part of your chart? The emotional things that come up. Mind you, let's remember that Mars in Cancer is, ruled by wherever the moon is. So that's a thing obviously to keep track of in these situations, but it's a very important transit that we start off the year with. And I have had a lot of interesting conversations with people who by transit have already been affected by this. And we've talked about different ways to remediate Mars. Again, I think moving through the body is very important. Moving the blood in the body, if possible. If things are coming up that one encounters what they can't understand emotionally, that feels like it's trapped inside them, it literally could be trapped in a part of your body that needs to move and to purge. And this is a review process. This is going within. This is revamping and redefining. And in the end, regardless of Mars situations, I think it needs to, at some point, output. Now, if it's a healthy output like sweating or movement, so there's a deeper movement in the long run, I'm all for it. There's different ways of looking at solution-based ways of doing this, but know that they don't happen immediately, in my opinion, with the Mars retrograde. And I think you got to swim deep on this one. And it's already difficult for many people, right? What happens when you feel cornered and then you can't do anything about it? What happens when you are internally in the Cancer part of your chart or whatever, feel like you're in an emotional pain cave place and you can't do anything about it, it seems. And that can stun stun a person, that can debilitate them, take their energy away. So Mars going backwards, the energy, the vitality of Mars is just sucked out. So please acknowledge that if you're affected by this. At the same time, you can slowly push it out. Anyway, some thoughts about that. And M in chat, I see you here along with Jendi. Good to see you here, Jendi. And Scorpio 6X Astrology is talking about Mars on their AC. See, they're living it. Good to have you here too, by the way. So saying that, that's the zone here, which is a main thing here. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this, but let's just do it. Let's jump to something here. I think this is very important. And I will do it with you because to ring on this, hold on a second. There's full on the 13th. Let me see if I get this right. Let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, that's what I want to see right here. I want to see this chart. Because here on the 13th here, we have the full moon coming up in a couple weeks here. And let us point out the degrees of what's happening. And you see the full moon is at 23 degrees Cancer, and you see the sun there. But look at Mars, retrograde. It's conjunct this lunation. This is a hot place right here. And hot is good. Now, the thing that sort of helps it here is the North Node and Neptune in Pisces. It sort of helps. I think it can diffuse a little bit of this if one were to access that area. But for the most part, this is pretty intense, I think, and very moody oriented. And again, one has to really focus on the Piscean compassionate part of things. Again, luckily, we have Venus here to help. I don't think it's doing its best job with Saturn, by the way. I just don't. But I'll get to that. But again, that is a little outlet. Also, as a reminder, if you're one of these people affected by this transit, this is the place for you to look at. That's all. This is why I'm showing you this, is this build up to this full moon. And full moons in general are intense. Then it's in Cancer, like it rules it, and then Mars is sitting there going backwards. So again, I think this could be in its own way volatile. Maybe, hopefully, Neptune helps out here. Okay, so saying that, and it's hard for me to pay attention to chat right now, so just bear with me. So there, I just wanted to mention that. Okay, as for the current Mars story right now with Mars and Pluto, remember the power of Pluto, the obsession of Pluto. It doesn't mess around, okay? And its weird goal in the end, whether you like it or not, it is showing the crap in someone's world or reflecting it back to them. And sometimes it'll come in narratives that are very domineering. So when you have Pluto Mars opposite now, and it's feeding this Mars story in general, this is a tough place. It's a very tough place. For me, I like to find the empowerment of it all. If one could understand that Mars is at a depleted strength place right now, that acknowledge it, then I think one could start to work with it, okay? But yes, is it frustrated and raw right now, Mars, and possibly destructive? Yeah, we've already seen a couple accounts of this morning in the news. So saying that, just want to put that out there. Do I get a forecast about this week? There's so much that happens. Venus and Pisces is happening tomorrow. Okay, let me be straight up about something here, because I can't let this one go. I can't let this one go. We learn the rules in astrology where planets are in signs, and they work better by the rules of astrology. Certain planets work better than others in signs. Right? So we're talking about dignity schemes, and I'm not going to get into this. And I think everyone has to learn this and understand dignity. At the same time, I am not going to be on this channel on social media and say, I can't wait. I can't wait till this planet goes into this sign because it sucks in that sign. And if one's having a personal transit, I can understand, like, if transits are affecting them, like, they can't wait for Mercury and Sagittarius to be done because it's just been through crazy retrograde stuff last 2 months. I'm like, all right, I get it. But if me as an astrologer, I might joke about it and say personally, but for what's saying it to the public, to the world, we have to learn dignity schemes. We know Venus, it loves being in Pisces. Now, if we have the intention in saying it as astrologers that it should get the hell out of Aquarius because it doesn't supposedly have its strength like it has in Pisces, and you're talking to people and people are looking at their own individual charts, that's when it gets weird. And that's when other weird things happen, when you talk about planets in detriment or things like that. And then I have clients come to me because they read a social media post saying basically, don't do this and don't do that until this planet goes there. And I'm like, each person's different. And then you're scaring people. And then they go look in their chart and they got Mars in Libra, and they're reading how Mars is horrible in Libra and they're born with it. And then they're like looking at themselves that they're horrible, that their chart is horrible, that there's no way they can work with it. And I think it's very important here, and I'm reiterating this is a personal rant here, that it's destructive to do something like that, even in social media posts. If one is educating somebody like, yes, Mars does not function well technically in that sign, we watch out for those things, but we have to have context and nuance. We can look at people's charts who have Mars and Libra and supposedly it wasn't functioning there. I mean, they do amazing things in their lives. But a lot of people out there are in a panicky, anxiety place already, and then they're reading stuff by certain astrologers out there, and then they're walking around, and then they come to me and they're reading, and they're in tears because they think they're messed up. And so does there work to do sometimes with planets more than others? Yes, technically in astrology, but each individual is different in at what place they are in their life to fulfill things or not. And that's what makes astrology astrology. So I want to say this because I'm not pissed off right now, but I definitely can get pissed. Am I happy that Venus is going into Pisces? I'm happy when the planet goes into every damn sign. That is where I'm coming from. That is my philosophy. Do I see transits that are happening? They're difficult at times. Yes. Can't wish them away. I can hate on them in my personal life, but at the same time, I'm like, it is what it is. Then you got to deal. I'm that person. That's who I am. So saying that, again, you're out there. I come from this place because I've realized my lighting's trippy here. I'm going to go a little bit more there. And I'm realizing after you do this for a while and you look at social media threads and people will pile on a thread and they're like, oh yes, this is horrible, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? I can understand it's horrible for some people, but horrible sells. Doom sells. Differentiating and saying this planet and this sign is not bad, but this sign's better. That thing sells, it creates this, right? There's enough of this out in the world. So you're looking at the transits upcoming this year for yourself in your own chart, and you don't feel you want to get some insight, you hire somebody like me or another astrologer that you're into that's experienced, that has a great philosophy behind what they do, and have a real conversation with you with active listening and acknowledge where you are. You could feel just centered and feel that you belong in the universe regardless of the challenges, especially in these times, okay? My rant is over. James Sanders, thanks for the super chat. I see it in there. Canada Dries and Lucy Fur is here. Wake me from this. Tatum, thank you. And I'll get to the chat. Saying that, we got this big full moon coming up. Venus goes into Pisces here. Interesting transit it's going to do for the next several months. It's part of the eclipse story. I'm going to jump into that. I wanted to mention this particular place, and I also want to mention right here, because of what we're talking about, because I got to get a hurry on this. There's so much to talk about here before I take some phone calls, is this 15th day, but basically here to go back onto the Mars story, that basically the sun will be in Capricorn and Mars will be at 26 degrees. And here's a sun-Mars opposition. For those affected by this Mars transit, take a look at this date too, okay? Another thing I want to mention, to keep it on the Pluto trip, is when we're dealing with the 27th of this month is an important week in general, I think, because we got a new moon that's thrown in there in Aquarius. Why should we care? Is because you will see here, let's see if I can get it right. You will see an important date in my mind, the 28th into the 29th. Not only are we right before a new moon in Aquarius, but we're at an important date when Mercury and the moon will be moving through Pluto. And I did a post on social media several weeks ago saying that the Pluto story in Aquarius, I feel, hasn't fully been in the sign yet until this happens, until Mercury brings up the rear here and moves through. And this interesting Mercury and Capricorn transit that we'll be having here in January, as Mercury speeds up, because it's on January 8th, Mercury will go into Capricorn. I'm digging this, but in a funny way, it's going to pick up the last remnants of the Pluto and Capricorn story. And when it hits 28, 29 degrees on the way here, the last week of January, and Mercury and the moon with Pluto and the sun, like you see what's happening here, I feel that it is the final closing of the door of the Pluto and Capricorn story. For those who are at 29 degrees Capricorn, 0 degrees fixed placements, this is a wild window here, and at a chance for you symbolically, you're still cleaning up Pluto and Capricorn stories in your life to do it here around here. And this is a balsamic place here. And then it's the next day, basically, that you have at 9 degrees. At this point, you see on the 29th, we have the new moon in Aquarius, and you see Mercury's move through Pluto, all of this. Again, for those who watch my channel, know that the Pluto 0 to 1 degree in Aquarius air thing is a thing, and has to do with the slides that I put up earlier about trusting yourself and promising yourself and feeding your autonomy. Okay, so I just want to put this up there and mention that. All right, so I'm going to get to, whoop, there's a little something there. I don't know what I hit right there. I want to show you this, that I was mentioning this. We could talk about that later. And then we could talk about this. But here's what I will get to here is this. It's also here, and I'll bust a chart out for you here, that it's important here in the next week or so. I'm going to go right. You won't see it yet. You're looking at eclipse dates there. We're going to go right here to around January 11th and 12th here. And here, the nodes that have been, the eclipses that have been happening in Aries and Libra here for the last year and a half, enter in Pisces and Virgo. This is a very important symbolic place here that's happening here, because for those who've been affected by the eclipses and other signs, we get a major movement in the beginning of the year here too with the nodes. And if we go back a day, on the 12th, we're going to point out something here. And here is the 0 degrees Aries point place, cardinal place that I mentioned earlier here that will be accessed by many other transits this year. It's very important symbolically from world mundane events, which I'm learning this much more. And I know some of you out there, Patrick, we're going to talk about this. This particular 0 degree Aries place is very important. And we want to pay attention to things right now that are happening in the world. And this particular 0 degree place, especially if you're a person with cardinal. This will pop up later, this particular degree, but it is the next day that we pretty much go into the nodes here in Pisces, Virgo, and we're really ramping this story in. We're really in it now. That will lead us to eclipse season here, okay? So saying that, I need to do something technically here. And, whoop. Okay, that's happening. Hold on a second. I got to turn something off here. There we go. So saying that, we'll get to the eclipses here in a second. We'll run through them. And I don't know how long the stream's going to be. It's going to be a long time here. It's like, is that the deal? Is that the deal? So saying that, some of the things I talked about here, I want to do something right now. Let's start this up. We will. I put that there. There. Why is my face over here? What the hell is going on over there? What? Why is my face so big? But let's take a phone call. Like, I don't know how. And I seem really red, and it's because of the camera that I have. There. We'll just do it like that. Let's take a phone call. I promise some of you. Listen, this is the deal. Okay. You want to ask a question about your chart? You want to ask a question about a transit, something we're talking about this year? Cool. Just keep it very simple. You want to say something publicly out loud that you need to say to the world. One thing. Keep it simple. No long rants. I'm going to try to take a lot of calls on this stream starting now. Let's do it. I got to get rid of this fake sunburn thing I got going on. Change the color. There is it. Am I green? I'll stay green. So let me look at chat. All right. Let's see Vanessa and Lisa. Any thoughts on how Mars and Cancer and Super might play out? Oh, good question. Give me a second. Let me get my thing. This better work. Anyway, you can call at this number right now. Hopefully this comes through. And it needs to come through because I need to know if it works. Anybody can call, by the way, even if you called before on this channel. We just got to keep it short, okay? I promised I'd do this. And if you have something input to say on the transits or Mars and Cancer retrograde, go ahead. I'm open to things and open. I'm not the only astrologer out there. And I like to keep the Aquarius part of me fed here and to feed you guys this way. So again, there's a phone number up on the screen. Somebody's got to call, so I know this is working because I'm afraid it's not going to work. Patrick says, hey, no rants. Do you hate Mercury and Gemini? Oh, sometimes I do. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, what if I didn't have that? What if I was a Mercury in Cancer? I probably wouldn't be doing these technological streams. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Hello, are you there? I can't hear you. Let's figure out why. Hold on a second. I have a feeling. Hello, are you there? All right, I got to start over, people. Hold on a second. Hold on. I had a feeling something like this was going to happen. And if this doesn't work, it's going to piss me off. What don't I have working right now? Sorry, people. Give me a second. A lot of you people calling on me right now, and I'm having tech problems. This is not the way I wanted to start things. And I got to go back to the person I answered. Hold on. Hold on. This is how I'm going to test it, actually. This isn't good for Nicholas. I usually have my shit together. Why is this not happening? I might have to take a break on that. That's number 3. I see what just happened there. Hold on. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that one. Nope. All right. Tell me if you heard that music coming through, by the way, while I deal with this. Why did it do that? That is so weird. Oh, I know why. All right. Got it. All right. So I'm going to be calling back the first person that jumped at me that was in Texas. Hello?
Nicholas?
You're on the air with Sparkles of Gold. I figured out my tech problems.
Oh, well, I have bad internet connections. I'm standing in the best spot in the house.
Okay, let's keep it short but straight up. What do you want to call yourself?
Um, Rachel,
Rachel, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
What's on your mind, Rachel? You got a question, a proclamation? What's up?
Yes, no, I have a question about my chart.
Hmm.
I was born January
Okay,
7th.
hold on. We're gonna do this then, and we're gonna since we're do. I'll do some charts today, but I want to. Oh, I got a messed up there. Give me a second. I am new, and we're calling you Rachel.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
hold on a second. It's been a while since I've done this. This is like the first time I used to do this. Like I'm a little discombobulated. When's your birthday?
January 7th,
Really?
1966.
Happy birthday.
Atlantic, thank you. Atlantic, Iowa, 3:15 a.m.
Why do you know that time?
Huh?
Where's that?
What?
Where's that birth time come from?
Birth certificate.
Ah, that's what I want to hear. I need to take a breath here after that tech info thing I was dealing with. How do I spell Iowa? Jeez, why can't I spell this?
Iowa.
You rock. At it's telling me. Let me see. And while I do this, okay. And you said three what?
3:15 a.m.
Okay. All right. I think I'm here. You got a. Do you know your chart, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm looking at a Scorpio rising. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, surprise, surprise! Scorpio rising calling my channel. Rachel, what's the question that you have?
I see I have Saturn opposite of Pluto and Uranus conjunct.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is that a question or a statement? You just drop on me? Are you there? I can't hear you. Rachel, you dropped on me. I can understand your question, and since I can't hear you right now, I don't know why. Maybe it is your internet connection. I will say right now that you are definitely in the throes there of a second Saturn return. I'm assuming that's why you're calling here, and I'll try to keep track here if you jump here again. But I'm assuming that's why you're calling, and I'll just call you back. So saying that, let's just pull up a bi-wheel here, and you could see here that Rachel is in the middle of a major Saturn return that's happening, and we want to be. Your call has been forwarded. Yeah, it's not working. Okay, so saying that, we'll just go with it. Thanks for calling, Rachel. Hi, Yasmina in chat. Happy New Year to you. So yeah, Rachel's going through a second Saturn return. We can go back to the mid 90s here when Saturn was in Pisces last time. If someone's looking for insight into like what has happened here, full term, full cycle here in Rachel's chart, basically from a Saturnian perspective, there is a interesting generational thing that's happening here with those who have a Pluto-Uranus conjunction and what has been birthed around this moment, with a revolutionary release that is birthed here in that generation that you see play out later on. But anyway, from this perspective, that is interesting too. Rachel, you're watching. You've been also, I know the last several months is going on here because if you could see here, and I won't spend too much time here, you could see that Rachel's having a Jupiter return right now and a Saturn return, and is having a mutable situation happening around with the current transits. And we can even say right here where Mercury's right now, they probably have had an interesting storyline in the last couple months. I'm sorry your internet and your phones dropped out, but I always like to say with people in Saturn returns, especially the second one, to go back to go back into the mid 40s part when you were having your Saturn opposition, when Saturn was actually, and that's what we want to do here. I'll do it really quick, and let's see how good I am at this. We'll go really quick here. I'm going to go all the way back, and I'm going to pick a time right in this area of time here. It looks like 2008 into 2009, where you could see Saturn here, where they're having opposition at 21 around the time right here to their Saturn. And you could see, Uranus was in Pisces here. If you're looking for insight and answers, you can also say something in the chat, Rachel. I would go back to this particular point in time to help you fulfill the end of this cycle, the end of the Saturn cycle, and the beginning of the new one. Those are thoughts off the top of my head right now. And you heard the music, and I'm probably going to get a copyright strike on this video. And later, they will probably, I'll be able to mute it out. I'll lose the chat, though. I'll lose the chat function. So that is that. And I hope I was able to help you, Rachel. Okay. And sorry for the tech things. I saw a bunch of other calls come in here, so go for it. We don't have to do chart thing. It could be anything else. I'm up for it. Bring it my way. Let's see. I need to look at something here. I want to say hi to everybody who's joining in. Hello, this is Nicholas speaking. Sparkles of Gold.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What do we call you? Do you want to use a fake name? That would be the best thing.
Jasmine.
Say that again?
Jasmine.
Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just doing a live stream, and things are always interesting when we do this with tech and call-ins. You never know what's going to happen, Jasmine. So what's on your mind?
I have a question for my chart.
Okay. See how good I am at doing this now? When's your birthday? Wait, first of all, you offered, but I have to formally say this. Is it cool for me to use your birth info here?
Of course.
All right. What is it?
It's February 13th, 1984. It's at 3:37 a.m. Jersey City, New Jersey.
Okay, as I fill this out, Jersey City, New Jersey. And by the way, good job here, because I'm not hearing any feedback. People know sometimes to turn down their stuff when they're watching me while they're on the phone with me. And it's very important. So you just concentrate on my voice. February 13th, 1984, 3:37 a.m., which sounds like a birth certificate time. Correct?
Correct.
All right. What's your one inquiry question?
I don't really know exactly how to read it. It says that I'm a Sag rising, but is it my first house? Is it a Capricorn first house? I'm not even sure how to.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So here's a question. That's good, because that's good. Right now on the screen, you're looking here, and people are watching. I use a whole sign house system, right? That's what I use. And according to the information that you gave me, your ascendant here is at 26 degrees Sagittarius. So you have a Sagittarius rising. From the way I do charts as a whole sign user, I use other systems, but a whole sign user, you have a Sagittarius first house, right? Now, you've probably seen your chart in a different way, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
Probably Placidus, which I'm changing on the screen here. And it's weird, because then all of the Capricorn planets in your chart come into your first house, right?
Yes.
And this is kind of to your question, correct, Jasmine?
Yeah. Yeah, a little confusing.
Okay, let me ask you something. I don't know. There's no right or wrong here about what you know about astrology, or beginner, intermediate, expert. I don't know, whatever. But what do you feel? I mean, you're a Sag rising, but do you feel very Sagittarius in your life going out into the world? Do you feel more Capricorn? I mean, it's a straight.
Definitely, I definitely feel more Sagittarius.
Okay. And okay, and so I'm just going to stick with that one, because I'm I use the whole sign house system. I think it's a good guiding place for you is when you're looking at your chart and wanting to learn more about it and going further and further with your chart, Jasmine, is like, there's that. I would lean more towards the Sagittarian way of things in particular. That's the way I would do it. It doesn't say that I'm completely right. And these are types of things where you have to look at certain events in your life to see if it was more, they were hitting your Capricorn planets and it had more with your way of entering and viewing the world, your body and vitality, first house, or did certain events happen when your Capricorn planets were triggered that were more on a resource, financial, money end, second house. This is a way to look at it. Now, the other thing about this is, right, are you a second house Aquarius, right? Or a third house? I know I'm asking you this. You want the answer from me, but these are the questions.
I'm hoping I'm a second house because the Pluto. I'm hoping that it's going to make a real big shift in my second house.
Well, okay, that is something for you actually. While I put this back to whole sign on my thing, that is something for you to think about here. I would say this month, if you to have major Pluto transit hit your Capricorn planets, right? It's like, well, what did happen? Did it happen from a more second house view? Is it more first? Is it in between? That's the way to try to help define it. One way, at least.
I 100% feel that it was a first house transit.
Okay.
The Pluto in my Capricorn house.
Yeah, then that's what I would lean towards. And for me, when like if you were a client and you came to me and I was looking at your chart, I would be looking at both charts on the side and I would have questions for you, kind of like the way I was asking. And then you kind of gave me one because I could go, no, here, I can hear that in the background. But it's a thing where I can make my judgment, but you know best. You know best, Jasmine. You know best. Yeah. And that's what I would follow. And then I would follow life events to help you dial that in, your chart. Right. So I hope I was able to help you. It's an interesting question that you had today. So
well, thank you so much, Nicholas. Happy New Year.
Jasmine, thanks for calling and putting yourself out there, and Happy New Year to you. Always interesting thing in astrology. I can't go into the depths of something like that here with something like this, but you see what happens. And again, certain astrologers, and I'm starting to do this, ask for certain life events in someone's life. It's like a minor rectification way of dealing with this. I'm going to lean towards what Jasmine's saying a little bit more, and they have the lines a little bit blurry with the chart thing, and also looking at what the midheaven is in their chart. I don't know if you saw what was going on up there, so on and so forth. I hope you all can hear this, and I hope things are working. Let me see if this chat is still rolling. I think I had the chat die on me. My chat window. Let's see. Is it working? I have no clue. I can't see any of your chats right now. So let me do something here. And I hope we're still on air. Oh, my computer is like dying right now. I wonder if this stream is stuttering on me right now. I have a feeling that it is. Oh yeah, I'm having something going on here. Let me do something really quick. I'm gonna do that. Oh yeah, my computer is not happy. Not happy right now. Let me do this and hold on, people. Please tell me I'm still streaming. I think I am. Yeah, my computer is doing something here. And be patient with me. I don't know why it's stuttering on me. Patience. There we go. Yeah, you guys are with me now. You could see how my computer is not happy. And this is something I'll be working on. All right, so let's get back to it. I see you all in chat. let me get to. Oh man, it's the resizing on this. Let me catch up with chats. Okay, so Pink, I'm still streaming. Thank you. All right, let's do it. I'll take another phone call, then I'm going to go back into something. So let's do this. Obviously, people are going to want to know about their charts. I get it. Phone number's up on the screen. Go for it. By the way, I can't read text on air. I can't even look at stuff like that. Yeah, okay, good. I'm back. Yeah, my computer, I'm working on that now. It was pushing CPU load. You'd think, well, I did start this with a Gemini ascendant on purpose, and I think I did. Jupiter thing going on, a Mercury thing with me. Phone number's up on the screen. Hello, this is Sparkles of Gold. You got to turn me down in the background. Hello?
I just muted you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Absolutely, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm juggling. I'm juggling on a stream here.
Good to hear.
Yes, this is what's up, my life. What do we call you?
Call me Jeremy.
Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I just got a question about next year in associated transits with my chart.
Sure. We gonna? Do you feel good about putting your info really quick? Do we have to?
Yeah.
You want me to? I can. I mean.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Pearl Jam songs in my head right now. What's the date?
August 30th, 1977.
Or something's already happening in my brain looking at this date. Okay, what time?
9:56 p.m.
That seems like an exact time. Whoa. Hold on. You're gonna see the delay. You know, it's gonna be delayed what I'm doing on the screen with you, but I know you can handle it. What city?
Dallas, Texas.
The big D.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk away from the screen then and do you in real time on the phone.
Yeah, that's kind of a good way to concentrate. And then you can just kind of look. I mean, you'll know. Just pay attention. 9:56 p.m. August 30th, 1977, Dallas, Texas.
Aries 24 degrees, right?
That's what I'm seeing right here. What's the one question? What's on your mind?
I'm curious about the Mercury and Venus retrogrades going across the 0 point next year. Going through some marriage issues. I'm just curious what we're kind of seeing around that.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, I just want to acknowledge something here. First of all, that you're calling here about something that's intense, probably, and serious, like. It's stuff like this is everything, and the eclipses for the last year and a half, how they've been in your world. Obviously, you know some astrology, so you know it's directly affecting you, along with a Chiron transit that is happening in the sky right now. You are probably referencing, and let me jump here really quick. On my end, I need to do something. I'm going to pull up a date here. What the hell did I just do? Give me a second, Jeremy. I got a Bible up on the screen right now that has to do with the March 29th solar eclipse that's going to happen, and it's going to be at 9 degrees.
Yep.
And you're also referencing a Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde that's happening during eclipse season, where it starts in Aries and goes back into Pisces and back over. Let me ask you this, Jeremy. Wait, first of all, tell me again your question. An overall feeling or something specific?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's all those in between. I'm curious about possibilities, the way that pans out coming to next summer. And I'll tell you why. And that's just because my partner has a fifth house Cancer. I don't know if that makes any sense to you right now, but with Jupiter going into Cancer.
It does. They're Pisces rising too, so they got Saturn going through the world, and Jupiter. Yeah. So this is weird. What I'm going to say to you here, I don't know if it's going to be weird because you're asking me about your partner, and in one way, ethically here, I have to be careful with something like this, because if I were to do a synastry reading one-on-one with somebody, they would have to get permission from their partner to work with their chart.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm
So
not going to give you any more details.
yeah,
than
so
that,
for me, I have to turn it on you a little bit, and basically, keep this other person in mind in their chart, whatever. But it's more about like, where are you in all this? For you, is Aries rising, and where you are with this whole story. Like, what is your outlook and the way you want to be in the world or in this situation here in this next year or next 6 months? That's my question to you, and I have to balance what I just said to you about ethics right here.
Yeah,
So,
no,
okay.
absolutely. I guess thinking about the realities of reconciliation at the end of the year or not.
Okay. Jeremy, since we're calling you that, do you feel seen in the world these days?
I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I think I do. Yes, been pretty isolated lately.
Mm.
Got that Saturn in the 12th.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I asked you this question is because of your Venus. I'm looking at the Venus in your chart.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I end up.
Pluto, yeah.
It rules the 7th house in your chart, along with the other Taurus part of your chart, right? And I think it's important here because the eclipse story that's been happening with the Mars-Venus thing, and how you have come to understand Mars and Venus in your chart or in the sky in the last year and a half. But for me, this is where intuitively I'm going, because I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about your Venus in Leo, and I'm thinking here, along with a massive Mars transit right now that's happening there too, that I'm wondering about your place in the world, how you see yourself, and if you are, it's reflected, like how the world sees you, or does someone see you, or people, are they there? Because if you are having some feeling of isolation, and let's just say it's only natural, I think, to want reflection back from the universe for confirmation and acknowledgement, or if one has a question of what could be or what one wants. You with me, Jeremy?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and so for me, that's where I am right now talking to you, and it's more of a focus of like, okay, possible reconciliations of what you want and need. And then for me, it's like, well, we think of scenarios. What if there isn't a certain type of that scenario playing out, and what do you do? Or in the meantime, in certain situations, how are you viewing and taking care of yourself and looking in your world, and what does that mean to you? And so for me, in the end, when I'm looking at an last eclipse that's coming here and finishing a major eclipse cycle for your angles, and for you inherently, in the first house here, I am like, it's an identity thing. And the other reason why I'm saying this is because you've had a Saturn opposing your Sun here that's happened too. And even though by degree, it's late degree, it happened a while ago, that's an identity thing too. And
absolutely,
yeah. and for me, that's what I'm posing to you right now, or to think about. There's the questions outside of you, and reconciliations and relationships and other things. But really, it's like, where do you stand? Who are you? What do you want to be? Where are you? And if you're feeling isolated, then there's at times, with Saturn stories where one can piece themselves apart, or the world does it to them. Like you feel in pieces, or it slows you down, or it stops one, right? And, for an Aries rising, it's, inherently Mars ruled, you want to go out in the world and that kind of thing. And then you got this Venus in Leo.
Mars, yeah. Cancer Mars retrograde has always sucked. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, it's a thing. Now, I don't know if things will play out for you. It's a different kind of session, different kind of thing right there.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah.
But it's more here with you, because I'm here for you and with you, is those are the questions I'm posing to you, here. These are intense life, existence questions, honestly. Certainly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what that's about. Yeah, no, I think there has definitely been over the last, year and a half or so, some definite identity shifting, recalibrating. And that's been a real part of this whole relationship transformation, is the idea that there's no way that this could ever be reconciled by either parties involved unless both of us change identities
Yeah.
at a certain level. And then it's a rebirth kind of idea. But that's like a transformation and then a death and rebirth of itself, and we've been together for a very long time. So it's just, just questions.
Yeah, no, I understand. You got that Mercury to where it is. I'm sure you got a lot of questions constantly, and your brain's on point, and other times where it can go in a certain direction, especially with possible scenarios, and it's connected to your heart and your gut. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot, and so, regardless, Jeremy, I hope that however the story plays out for you, that you see the good in you and the good in the world. And it's hard sometimes when you're caught up in what one wants or possibly might not be able to have. And then, like you said, in a death and rebirth story, and usually in those places, there are things that did work that were optimal. And even with something like that, I think those are the things that are the hardest to let go. And, in death and rebirth stories and in relationships, but you never know. Some people,
absolutely.
You walk through the fire, somebody else walks through the fire, and you come out different, like you said, and you never know what happens after that, right? So.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much. I know you want to keep it short, but I really appreciate it.
Jeremy, man, I'm glad that you called, and I'm glad it's a dude that called me. I never get to talk to dudes, to guys. In my pride, 99% of my client base is women. There's nothing wrong with that. I just never get talking. So just in that alone, my friend.
I understand. That's the way it is. Yeah, I hear you.
On another note, before we leave, you can always get a session with me. But I also, from a side note, pay attention to the Mars and Jupiter in your chart here. Obviously, when we get to May and June. Okay. So,
right on.
Jeremy, be good to you, brother.
Summer solstice. Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
See you.
Bye.
Heart wants what the heart wants, is what I read in chat. Sure does. Regardless, when you have charts like this, with so much going on, and obviously with anybody with cardinal stuff or anything dealing with cardinal stuff right now, you're on stage this year, and there is the Jupiter and Cancer transit that is ahead. And I think a lot of what the Mars retrograde transit is doing in Cancer, if one goes to the depths of this and understands and comes out, the Jupiter transit that's going to happen here, I'll pull up the chart here in a second. Actually, I'll do it here in a second. The Jupiter transit that's going to happen can uplift this situation or change it or bring something new in from the optimistic, the truth-seeking, visionary thing that Jupiter is and the way that functions in Cancer. In that sense, it's almost a blessing in one way that the Mars retrograde is happening in Cancer. It might not feel that way, and it might really suck depending on somebody's situation. But Jupiter is coming there. And not only is Jupiter coming there, it's a weird thing that's going to happen because let's just show it. Actually, let's just do it. Because this is something I'm not going to get through everything about this year. It doesn't matter. But let's just take a look at a Jupiter ingress chart in Cancer, which is going to happen June 9th. Here, you could see it here on the screen. I'll get the calls in a second. Right here, you could see it on June 9th. Look at Mercury already comes through there first. So we basically have it. We have actually a Jupiter-Mercury conjunction. If I'm correct, this happens at the late degrees of Gemini at the end, which actually affects the guy who just called, Jeremy. If you're watching this, that really affects you. So saying that, you see this right here. And then it's here. It's on June. Let's go here. I will go by the month to here. There's July. Does it happen yet? No, it doesn't happen yet. it will. By the way, just let's look right here. I just went to July 1st. We got a Venus-Uranus conjunction that's happening right there. That's a pretty big deal. Whatever the case is, let's go here. And this is the place I'm getting to. You could see what I'm doing here. It's right there within that week. We have the Jupiter-Venus conjunction that happens. I'll dial it in. It is actually right here. On August 11th, we have this pretty amazing moment here. I think it's really good. Jupiter-Venus conjunction that happens in Cancer. It's still, there's a Saturn in the cardinal signs, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing to look at for this year for those affected there and who are keeping track of the Cancer part of their chart. Okay, so saying that, you can look to the degrees between 14 and 17 Cancer, because this is affected. The 17 Cancer places where Mars stations forward in Cancer, and we can pay attention to even when a Saturn this year is going to go over 17 degrees in Pisces, which can affect this area too. All right. Interesting how we went there. I did say there's a really, that transit is something right there. We get to have it. BB, I want to say BB Densler in chat. Hey, how are you? I'm glad you're in chat. And Lilly 899 is here. I think I acknowledged some of you here. That doesn't always look back. I want to make sure I get everybody. Lisa's here. Krystal Marie has Mars in Cancer, Libra stellium. I see that, Krystal. All right. I'll get the phone calls in a second. I'll get to that in a second. Speaking of, we were looking at eclipses earlier, and here is the eclipse that is on the 13th here at 24 degrees Virgo. This is part of a massive month or thing that happens in March, where you could see here that basically Venus stations retrograde on March 1st at 10 degrees Aries. It's going back at this point, and you could see the day of the eclipse on March 13th that Mercury stations retrograde that day, the day of the eclipse. Mercury being the ruler of the moon in Virgo conjunct the south node. This is a wicked eclipse for those affected by the mercurial. We want to keep track of Jupiter and Mercury the whole year because they're the ruler of the nodes and the eclipses here. So, but this one's a stationary Mercury here with this one. I think this is not just volatile, but confusing for many. You are a person who's a Virgo who has stuff at these degrees. Lay low and shut the mind down, will you? And even if you try, I think the mind will just shut itself down on you. We pay attention to that. You could see here, newly moving forward is that Mars in Cancer. So you see overlapping stories happening here, and we are going to pay attention to this huge day because it's a Saturn-Sun conjunction in Pisces. Opposite, Saturn's in on the game here with this one. So it could be very difficult for people distinctly affected by these degrees. We make note of this eclipse, okay? And then, I don't even cut Nicholas. You're not paying attention. Let me start all over again. So this here, the Mercury station here, and there's Venus retrograde, right? And there's the moon south node. South node sucks out. It's loss, disposal, right? Disposal. Tide goes out. Energy gets sucked out. We got to pay attention to these things. Think loss. There's no movement. Somebody who's a 20-some degree Virgo sun, pay attention here. This is not the time to go shooting to push the agendas or to try to get the problem solved. I really think you just have to watch this one. Like, you just have to, for those particular people. And then you see Mercury here being the ruler station, and then we're going to go look to Jupiter, which rules this Pisces area. At least Jupiter is moving forward because it's the beginning of February that Jupiter comes out of its retrograde cycle and starts to move forward. Regardless, you see what's happening here. pretty big eclipse. Let's go to the one that's right after that we had up for our friend earlier, Jeremy, and we're back here, and we see here that it's a couple weeks later, and we see that Mercury here is at the 0 degree place that we've been talking about. And this is the beginning and ending place. And you could see here that Venus is moved all the way back in the 28 degrees Pisces. Mercury is about to do this, okay? So it's about to go through the next day pretty much, or later in the day, Mercury's going to move back into Pisces and go through Neptune and go through the Venus. You know, you're going to have this. So there's this overlapping story going on, and it's a very liminal place, and very liminal from Pisces to Aries, right? So again, we're paying attention to where Jupiter is, and we're paying attention to where Mercury is a huge player in my opinion, in this eclipse story that is going to happen. Another retrograde, another moment. The sweet spot, Mercury Sun conjunctions, obviously. Okay, so saying that, you're a Pisces here, or you have Venus in Pisces. I know Venus goes into Pisces here tomorrow from when I do this stream. Great. Some moments there. I know there's people out there. They have some electional stuff for talismans they're making. I, in particular, wouldn't work with this Venus, to be honest, because of a Saturn feeling to it, and even Jupiter being retrograde. That's me. I only do stuff for myself, so it's not all candy. When we have Venus-Saturn conjunctions are happen, I think they're great moments to be worked with, but that's a very difficult thing. It's not that clear cut, you know, and one has to gauge that for themselves, right? And so, hold on. Did I get this right? Here's the 18th when we look at this Saturn-Venus conjunction. It happens at 16 degrees. Here is the 7th, or the April 7th, when it happens again. Venus is retrograde. Look at Mercury. It's stationing forward. You see what's happening here? We have a lot of entering in and pulling back. Entering and pulling back. Neptune's going to do this from Pisces to Aries. Saturn's going to do the same thing. Uranus is going to go from Taurus to Gemini and back and forth. This year is about moving forward and moving back. There's only certain places where I feel like it fully feels have the moving forward. That's actually Pluto in a sense, and it's actually Jupiter and Cancer. The rest of the planets, they play a game here this year, and you have to understand it to maneuver these things. My opinion. But I will say, you're a Venus and Pisces person, or Venus in Aries, you see the type of movement going on and the type of tattooing that's going on to Venus during the cycle. It's going to go through an eclipse process, a Saturn process, a Mercury retrograde's tied into it, and then it's going to move through all of that. All right. Here is the 24th. The third Venus-Saturn conjunction. So I'm just cluing you in on this, that is what's ahead for those are Piscean people and some Aries people going on. There's a lot of work going on with Saturn there. Do you see now? You see, for me, even though someone's going to try to pull off a certain types of elections this month with Venus and Pisces, it isn't that candy. Like, everyone's waiting for planets to go in these certain signs. Like I dig in the Mars and Scorpio transit later this year. I'm all into that. But this one's a little tricky to me. So saying that, please take notice. I don't know where the hell my chat is. I am losing all my windows. There we are. BB Densler, thank you for the super chat. I got a bunch here. Thank you for, damn, BB, thank you so much. 2 of them sending positivity and love. That's what I want to talk about here. Thank you, BB, for a dual action here, or maybe there's a comment on one. Steffi G, 3 green heart jackpot on you, BB. And Nadia, Nicholas and friends, thanks. All the best 2025. Thanks for helping us hold our own natural dignities with grace and acceptance. We appreciate you. Obviously, there's some talented writers in my chat who are. That is well said, Nadia, and very kind of you. Yeah, very cool. And saying that, you Virgos out there, I said stuff here. Eclipses are workable. They're workable. You just got to be patient. You want some clues? You want some clues? We'll go back. Go back to 2006 into 2007 and the eclipse cycles that were happening there for the deeper clues to something. If you're exactly connected to this, an example here is 2007, 2006 cycles. That's when the nodes were where they're about to be now. That's where they were back then. Okay, so you go take a look at that for those who are looking for insight. Look at that. It was 2007. Look at Pluto was in Sag. Oh my God, that was a different. Starting to get, sooner or later, I'm starting to get Pluto and Sag clients. And then I'm like, oh, I'm really old. I'm like, I'm old. Speaking of old. So saying that, let's finish this. I'm not going to be able to do everything. We're going to go all the way back or forward here to the, since we're on this thing, we're going to go all the way to, did I do this right? There. We're going to go all the way to, why am I not doing this correctly, Nicholas? Oh, I'm so weird. It's like, I'm not used to seeing 2025. We're going to go to this chart, which is the lunar eclipse that's going to happen during the Virgo birthdays to keep the story going. Here you see the sun conjunct the south node. Talk about energy being sucked out. There is Mercury there, and you can see on the other end here, Saturn is in on the game at this point, still coming back in the Pisces. Those affected by the spring eclipses, this is the next chapter that's going to happen there. I feel weird about this eclipse for different. I'll just keep it even keeled. Just pay attention to this one in relation to the one in March. Okay, with Virgo, because it's connected. Okay, so we got that, and then we're gonna go. Because I don't want to spend it too long on this. Here is 2 weeks later on the 21st, where we have the next one here at 29 degrees, and we know that Saturn or Neptune story is part of this, but you could see Saturn on the opposite end of this. That it's not gone away. And so basically the Saturn story and Venus story that was part of the beginning eclipse in spring, you see Saturn showing up here again. So there's no way out of the Saturn story here. There's just no way out. You need a little decompressive place is to go to the Jupiter part of this situation. You take that for what it is. I'm not going to go on and on about this. There will be other videos down the line, but we want to make note of this. And by the way, there's a 0 degree Aries place. All right. So saying that, I'm going to get the phone calls here. And again, in a second, it takes some more. These are the eclipses that are going to happen that I just went over. There are the degrees. You can see Neptune here is currently at 27 degrees. It will go into Aries to hit the 0 degree point on March 30th. Again, here's the 0 point. Neptune will go retrograde in July at 2 degrees Aries. It will hit the 0 degree place pretty much during eclipse season here at September 15th, where we just looked at an eclipse chart. And then Neptune will go all the way back. And October 23rd, it'll be back into Pisces at 29 degrees. And then in December 11th, Neptune stations forward out of its retrograde cycle at 29 degrees. Massive degree place, 29 Pisces, 0 degrees Aries. It's a big deal, okay? Many planets will touch this place. Even Jupiter in Gemini squares this and then goes into Cancer, cardinal at 0. Saturn, currently at 14 degrees, will leave, and then on May 24th, hit the 0 degrees to go in there. It seems like forever, but it's not, as we know. And then Saturn will go retrograde on July 12th at 1 and almost 2 degrees Aries. And then in August 16th, while it's going retrograde still, will hit the 0 degree place in Aries August 16th. It's September 2nd, in the beginning of eclipse season, that Saturn then you see, right there starts to hit the 29 degree point, which is huge because that's a Neptune place too. And then you could see eventually that Saturn goes all the way back to 25 degrees Pisces on November 22nd and will start to move forward. And then on the 23rd of 2026, it is hitting 0 degrees Aries again for good. Neptune will be rolling there eventually too. And then in 2026, there's no more Piscean stuff, right? It's fully in the mix. Okay. There's a lot that I'm not covering on here, what happens this year, but these are the slides I made. You see Neptune entering Aries in 2026 on January 27th. I snuck this in here because Saturn unofficially, I wrote, is conjunct Neptune and Aries June and July of 2025. And they're actually not officially there, but they're less than the degree away from each other, which is just fascinating. So we basically have this conjunction happening in Aries, but sort of not, right? So I'll just pull up a time here in a second. I'll just go to, wait a second. You're not seeing what I'm doing. Just give me a second here. You will see here on this chart right here that we're pretty much in the cycle. You see the conjunction happening here, but not quite. It's less than a degree away from each other. Then you have a stationary planet, and then they start to move away from each other. So you get a huge hint here of what the Saturn-Neptune transit in Aries is going to be here, June and sort of July, but then they never mathematically hit exact. And that doesn't happen here really, truly until Saturn it's February 20th, 2026. But listen, it sets the story off, okay? Come on, it does. And it definitely sets off the 0 degree thing. Patrick's saying they're edging. Good one, Patrick in chat. That's pretty funny. So I'll get the phone calls in a second. So saying that, we'll get to this in a second. I'll end the stream that way. I'm doing pretty good for an hour and a half here. We're pretty good. I want to do something here. Actually, I want to talk about something. I guess it talks about the Uranus going into Gemini. Let's just do it. And there's a reason why. Here you see that Uranus is currently at 23 degrees. And Uranus will move through all the degrees of Taurus from now until July 7th of this year, where Uranus leaves Taurus, where it's been since 2008. For all you Taurus people and Scorpio people, you sort of like, you celebrate. You might miss Uranus being in a sign. Maybe you got used to it, but it enters Gemini on July 7th. And you could see here that it's going to move through, and at September 5th, it's going to go backwards. And it's going to go all the way back in the Taurus. At that point during the retrograde cycle, you see here November 8th, Uranus goes back into Taurus, and it moves all the way into February of next year, 2026, where it stops going retrograde. It goes back all the way to 27 degrees Taurus, and then moves forward. And it isn't really until April of 2026 where you get Uranus fully in Gemini. Now, saying that, let's check something out here, because basically we know Pluto's in an air sign in Aquarius, and then Uranus will be in an air sign. So we're going to have a natural grant, or we're going to have an air trine happening here. And let's see when it happens. And we get a hint of this. It doesn't happen until July 17th, 2026, but we get a hint of it right here. Let me pull this chart up. Where am I? We'll do it right here. And you could see here, like I said, Uranus goes into Gemini here in the summertime or wintertime, southern hemisphere, and it's already got an applying trine. Pluto at this point is retrograde. So you already got the massive thing here with a Uranus-Pluto trine that will really set off in 2026, which is an amazing transit we're going to have for a while, and feeds into this place where Saturn and Neptune here are in Aries, and when 2026 fully kicks in, we will have major planets in air and fire signs working off of each other from trines to sextiles. And so this is an amazing air fire period we're about to hit in the world for a while. Some are going to be able to really dig this. Some will handle it. My earth signs are going to be trying to figure this stuff out along with my water signs. Regardless, I just wanted to point this out. I think it's very important because this year has to do with stories that get started and stories that go back and then eventually move forward. And this is another version of that, okay? So saying that, I was thinking about technology and what's about to come our way and what is already our way here and what's thrown in this rapid quickly shifting place with AI and technology and the rapidness of things, and how people are trying to cash in on this, how people are referencing information, all these things, and it got me thinking about something. And I was just like, how do I do it? What do I utilize, or what don't I want to utilize? And what are we forced to be utilized? Like, it's in our faces, there's stories of like, there all these AI chatbots are going to come on Instagram and Facebook, and they're going to be like normal profiles, and it's all trying to do something. Do we need that? And we have technology in a sense that's thrusted upon us, and then there's the economics where you kind of have to use what is thrown at you in order to survive as a business or a creator or whatever it is, right? It's overwhelming. And at the same time, what about the simplicity of things, the tangible things? But when we get to air and fire, it's not tangible. Sometimes it's you can't touch it like Earth. It can't touch the object. And I think the object itself was become more important than ever here in the future. What is actually touchable, not what's just in the cloud, not what's just ethereal, not what's just fumes. My opinion. But I was thinking about stuff, and I was like, how does this play out in its ways, So anyway, saying that, I don't know if this is going to work, what I'm about to do, but let's see if it does. Okay. So, as you know, Google's AI is called Gemini. If you haven't figured this one out, they really started to announce this stuff like during the slow period of Pluto going in to Aquarius, right? It's kind of birthed around that, and it's very interesting. At the same time, scary. I don't know what to think about it. So you guys in chat are gonna have to let me know if this is gonna work, and you'll let me know in chat, okay? I'm curious, and you got to let me know if you can hear this. Hello, I'd like to have a conversation with you today. Let's try again. I'd like to have a conversation with you today. Oh, I can't hear me. Let me see here. I thought I had this going earlier, and let's see. There. Let's try again. Let's try it again. Hello, I'd like to have a conversation with you today. Are you there? I'd like to talk to you.
Yes, I'm here and ready to talk. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? That's a good question. I was wondering about this AI thing and what's going to happen in the future.
AI is certainly a topic that generates a lot of discussion and thought. What specifically about the future of AI are you wondering about?
First of all, why are you called Gemini? Why are you called Gemini?
That's a good question. I am called Gemini because I am a large language model developed by Google. Is there anything else you'd like to know about my name?
Yes, why did they call you Gemini and not Leo?
That's an interesting question. The name Gemini was chosen by Google. I don't have access to the reasons behind that specific choice. Perhaps they felt it better represented the nature of the project.
Do you think the nature of the project is based on the zodiacal sign in astrology after Gemini?
Yes, the name Gemini is inspired by the astrological sign. Is there anything else you want to know about this, or would you like to talk about another topic?
Well, how come you're not named Sagittarius? They think they know everything.
It's true I'm not named Sagittarius. It's interesting how different names can evoke different ideas and feelings. Would you like to explore this topic further, or would you like to talk about...
Sure, I would like to talk about something else. What about astrology? What do you know about it?
Okay, it seems like you're thinking about the astrological sign Sagittarius. Is there anything in particular you'd like to discuss about it?
Yes. What constellation...
Okay, you want to know about the
Let's start over.
Okay. Okay, let's start over. What would you like to talk about?
What do you think the future is with AI and human beings?
Okay, so you're thinking about the relationship between AI and human beings in the future? That's a big topic. What specifically about this are you curious about?
Is it for the better or worse?
That's a crucial question. It's important to consider whether AI will ultimately benefit or harm humanity. Would you like to delve into the possible pros and cons of AI's impact?
Well, tell me the cons. I would like to know the cons.
Okay, you'd like to know the potential cons or downsides of AI's impact on humanity. That's a very important area to explore. What specific cons are you thinking about?
I was hoping you would tell me the cons. Listen, I know you don't understand what I'm saying, and that makes the difference. It makes the difference between you and I is you're not human and I am, and I have that understanding and you don't.
Yes, that's a very important distinction. I understand that I am an AI, and you are a human with your unique experiences and perspectives. I acknowledge that the same kind of understanding as you.
Well, I'm glad you listened to the real Gemini with the real answers.
I strive to provide answers that are accurate and relevant to the best of my ability. What specific areas are you hoping for more real answers about?
Is this the future? The language models get bigger, deeper. I'm feeding the language model. It couldn't answer why it's called itself Gemini. And it's a question that I'm still trying to understand that Google would name. I mean, I know why they named their AI Gemini, but I want to know why and where it came from and who decided, and was it somebody who went to Big Sur when they left the Silicon Valley and they took some mushrooms and they're like, let's call this thing Gemini. I wouldn't doubt it. I like to know the story of this. If anybody's watching this, they're at YouTube and Google, I want to know the real story. I want to know the board meeting. I want to know what group of people came to the decision to call this Gemini, and in a sense, take something away from Gemini, from what it is itself. Because what the possibility is, this language models, they get deeper and deeper, which they are, and then people will be saying, Gemini, can you tell me about this? Gemini, can you tell you that? Do they know the reason why they're saying Gemini and why they would associate it to the AI? It pisses me off, and at the same time, it's laughable to me. I'm so curious, and I'm a Gemini, so I'm going to be working with this model a little bit more and playing my game, and I'll make some videos with it. But I just wanted to do this to show you what Gemini supposedly had to say, which is really nothing. Nothing. So, yes, I would like to go to there. Is an AI going to start doing cold readings after a while? There's people out there training AI with the models to do astrological thought and words and tracking the transits. I can see tracking the transits and things that are rising up on the ascendant every day with fixed stars. All this stuff, I mean, it could be hugely beneficial to computational power, but they're already doing it where the AI model is writing the horoscope. They'll set it up where there's a person with someone's voice there and a face that's going to look real, that's going to do the reading for somebody. They're going to do this. They're going to cash in on it, whoever it is. They're already doing it. And this is what I'm talking about. There's the benefits of air and fire of going somewhere else. But on the other side of it, though, when you lose the matter of things, the tangible. Even on Zoom calls, can read your body language somehow. And then when I do in-person readings, I can read the person's body language. They're reading mine. We are having this organic engagement, which creates a space where true magic happens, where there is an allowment of something to come in between both people or within both people to bring insights that you would not normally have. There's only so much data. There's only so many charts that I can look at or an astrologer can look at. It could never be replicated by an AI of the magic that happens with a conversation with two people looking at a chart and facilitating one person, holding space and being reflective and actively listening and acknowledging and confirming somebody, not just with their voice, but with your eyes, your body language, your senses around you being engaged. That's what it's really all about. And I never wanted to be lost, but you will see this. It's already a loss. And I believe, those to understand that sometimes we are out of sorts as human beings and we don't know why. And I think a lot of it has to do with our disconnection of our senses and other people. Even though on the internet, like now you and I are connected, this is a benefit of something, right? It's a benefit, right? So at the same time, we lose. There's something that's lost, and we might lose that. So that's my opinion. I think a lot of the transits this year and coming up is the testing of this, to testing of like the expansion of things and moving with the mind and bringing in something new. But at the same time, what losses, and you don't know what you've been losing, and then you don't know why you're out of sorts and your gas tank is empty or your adrenals are gone or whatever it is, or your conversations with people aren't what they used to be. And I've talked to a lot of people here that have come through COVID that have found themselves isolated and still haven't come out of the isolated mode. Some for protection and safety, some they just haven't come out. And then the stories that come along with that. A detachment, a aloneness, a different type of aloneness, not just the aloneness of where one ponders, an aloneness from humans. So let's just say, of a Pluto and Aquarius transit, the other side of it. That's why I've been saying, funnel in on your creativity and the autonomy, but it doesn't mean that you completely do it alone. At some point, it's not just online. At some point, it's in your community with your neighbors or in the town square. And I think this is very important for what's about to happen to us, that regardless of the AI and the technology stuff and whatever modalities you're using, tarot, astrology, whatever you do for your career, you don't want to lose the humanness of things, because in those interactions is a lot of times the answers to our deepest questions, right? Or at least it keeps leading you down the path, and you feel some sort of fulfillment, not a 2-minute serotonin hit from scrolling. I'm talking about a deeper fulfillment that happens with you being in the world and you interacting with the world through your senses on a human level, a human matter, real level. Right? So to me, this is a test this year and the next year after that with this stuff. Okay. Rant over. I just wanted to do that with you, say that to you. We love the air and fire. At the same time, we have to remember to bring it back into our bodies and bring it into a form, tangible matter place. Very Saturnian talk coming out of me. Levities here in chat. Good to see you. Tanya Stone, Lilac Tree. I see you there. And let's go for the phone calls, and then we're gonna end the stream that way. I'm not dissing on people using AI. I think there's models. I make my thumbnails sometimes with it. I think there's a balance with it, but we don't want to lose the humanity is what I'm saying. I know friends who are making software and doing that stuff in a sense of benefits to the astrology world from the research point of view. I get it, but we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose that. And I think too, the other thing is like, when you read a book and you're researching knowledge, or you read something online or in a book, but like, sometimes the way knowledge presents itself to you, or you're on the quest and you've been looking for something, but somehow you do a tangent because your senses led you some sort of way. You don't know why. And then it led you to something you weren't even thinking about or answered what you want in the first place. You just thought it was the other way, but it's on the other path. That way of moving in the world, I'm seeing some of that's been lost. So I worry about this thing. I worry about it. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Again, we want to balance things out. Saying that, why do I have to keep moving this stuff? All right. Hello, you're on air with Nicholas. Sparkles of Gold.
Hi, this is Krystal Marie.
Hi, Krystal Marie. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Doing good. Big rollover here.
Big roll or world?
Roll over into the new year.
Big rollover. You got it. Yeah. It's here we are again.
Yeah.
What's on your mind? Wait, say your name again.
Krystal.
Krystal, what's up? You got something to say? You got a chart thing, a question? What's on your mind?
Oh, well, I got a chart thing mostly. It's the Mars and Cancer bit and all that.
The Mars and Cancer bit. You make it sound like it's a comedy sketch that we're about to play, like that.
Oh, well, life is such a funny game,
I'm sorry, I had to say that because, I'm like, yeah. So, okay, do you want to give me your birth info? We could take a look really quick.
Can I? Yeah. 8/20/81.
That's August 8th.
20th.
Oh, August 20th.
Yeah.
And then what time?
11:25 a.m.
Where did you get that time?
Birth certificate.
Okay, where?
Fairbury, Nebraska.
Spell that again. Spell that.
Fair.
Bury.
Bury.
Fairbury, Nebraska.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to mute my thing here because we got some crossover.
Yep, you're figuring it out.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. This is the old school way of doing it. Fairdale, August 20th, 1981, 11:25 a.m. Fairdale.
Fairbury, Nebraska.
Fairbury. Give me a second. It's been a long time since I've been in Nebraska.
Yeah, you've been here.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time since I've been in Portland.
Yeah, it's just raining.
Yeah.
It's just raining.
It's been dry here all year, so.
Yeah, I wish you could take some of the rain. I'll take some sun. Do you know your chart, Krystal?
Fairly well, not entirely, but yeah.
It's on the screen right now. You're 22-degree Libra ascendant.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is there any specific about the Mars? Oh, you're having a Mars return. You got a big deal going on over here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory once you open it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. You had eclipses affect you, just like a fellow caller earlier. And so from the what you stand upon place, by the way, if you don't have to say anything here, but if we were at a party and everybody was talking to each other and we came up to each other, we're talking, I go, hey, what do you do? What would you say?
Well, I mean, the honest truth is, that happened to me last night, which is I'm an ex-petroleum geologist taking a break from science and learning how to play and, not work so hard.
And have you found something to play in and to explore in? from the playful
Oh
end?
yeah, poetry and art and building stuff and enjoying nature and you know d- remembering and or discovering what I really enjoy doing and what is really inside of me and not what I was trained or encouraged to, you know, be and succeed and all that
Mhm.
college stuff, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Little girl stuff.
yeah. What would you, I got another question for you. Do you have a code that you live by?
Moral code?
Yeah, like, sometimes they have
Sure.
the truth or like the truth that,
Yeah,
they're their own thing.
sure. I mean, I absolutely do, which I think it develops clearer all the time. Are you looking for the theme of it, the flavor of it?
Yeah. How about that? You give me the flavor of it, like maybe some adjectives or whatever feels comfortable for you.
Sure. It's centered in kindness and true, like personal authenticity and seeing beyond the physical is a huge component of seeing what someone really is or how they really feel or what's really the deeper truths in my day to day. That always trumps the immediate gratification or the superficial appearance of how I go through life. That's really my code is that's more important to me, and it's more rewarding that way.
Was that involved in the job that you kind of are taking a hiatus on? Was that present in any way there?
God, that's a beautiful point. Well, yeah, geology is to be able to see how the rock was created, not what it presently looks like in outcrop or in a core. It's to understand what it went through and the deeper history of the rock. So that's a great point.
Yeah. The reason why I'm posing these questions, and I'll tell you why, is, you talked about, obviously I asked you this scenario of like, what do you do for a living, right? And then we say
Sure.
things like this, and you're having a major 10th house transit with a Mars retrograde with a Mars return
Right.
going on, right?
Absolutely.
And so,
Yes.
there's that. And then, but also it was the thing where you like, I'm taking a pushing back because of like what you did, what you were trained to do, the girl thing to do. And then there's the other thing about finding avenues, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, about exploration and fun and play,
Yes.
right? And for me, I intuitively, I just wanted to know what, regardless whether it's your work or play or whatever it is, what your code was, like what is around. And the reason is because of that Jupiter transit that's happening in your 9th house in Gemini over there. And for me, I went there because I think a lot of times things that happen into the like 9th house, and if they eventually move, which Jupiter will in Cancer and come over the top of your chart here, starting in the summertime, what happens in the 9th carries over into the 10th. So someone's profession or what they're expert on or the authority or like how they get kudos in their social status is a very 10th house thing. But if there's wanting to take a break, push back, which is along with Mars going backwards, right? But eventually Jupiter's going to come through there and bring something. It's going to bring some abundant something and want to. And it's coming from the more higher truth code place of the 9th house. Does this make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually does. And I've through listening to a number of people speak and my own intuitive sense, I've kind of anticipated that coming. And when I kind of started living by this new, all my new rules and my code and such, and developing it more and more, that one of the hardest parts of that was to be able to trust that if you give up the immediate thing, that goodness will eventually arrive, that the universe rewards patience and trusting the higher truths more than anything. And so it's kind of a wonderful thing for that to seem to be finally coming through.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of where I went with you here. I obviously there's the more specifics about Mars going backwards in your 10th and, wanting to redo or redefine or take a break or whatever it is for you, right? There.
Yeah.
But that's where I went talking to you here because I was thinking not just what's about to be reviewed in the next couple months here. And, you've been watching the stream, you notice the lunation in a couple weeks here that affects you. There's certain things here. The other thing I want to point out here that could help you here in the spring with redefinition is Saturn, because that's a redefining planet in general, whatever it touches. And you see what's happening here. It's coming and it's working right now. The eclipses are going to be on to work with this, but Saturn in Pisces is going to harmoniously connect with the top of your chart and with your Mars.
Okay.
So you just remember from a Jupiterian standpoint of the code and the exploration and the pondering of truths, and the Saturn way of crystallizing truth in the end, I think helps you, because Saturn in Pisces makes a harmonious 100-degree trine relationship to your Mars and to your midheaven here as we speak in the next several months. So, I'm glad that you're finding places to play and explore and to do that. And for what, you found yourself in this place, you needed to do it, and that you're following those things,
Yeah. Yeah. And it, sorry, don't mean to cut you off. Go on.
No, go ahead.
What advice, what is the easiest way to continue to ride this big ass wave that has been, it's been difficult for, obviously a lot of us, and it's been not pleasant for a lot of the parts of it for me. And I've just been hanging on, believing in the goodness coming. What advice do you have for me because the weather's not going to get any easier. A lot of this weather, astrological weather is not going to be fun. What's my best route? How do I ride this out?
I think from what we've talked about, and I like to keep things simple, is to really have fun with whatever liminal change place that you're in. So if you're on the truth seeking realm, the play realm, and I know people are looking at this chart. I haven't looked at chat, but I know they're catching something else here because I immediately saw it. I know we're concentrating on Mars and Cancer here. Remember, Mars is how we take the engine of our chart, is how we take action, right? So you're kind of taking a couple steps back from that for a little bit here, right?
Yeah,
so I think that in itself is a good plan here, just to go, I don't have to do things at this time. There's the things in life, the mundane, you have to pay the bills, you got to do stuff. But if you notice the energy levels need to be replenished, slow down, right? If you notice, do you have to make decisions with certain situations? If you don't, slow down. Saying that, it'll start to ramp up for you. There's also something massive happening to you, is you're having, you're in this in-between place that, and this is for a deeper session, like for somebody like with me or somebody else, but you're at the age of what is going to happen in the second part of my life thing. And, this has to do with a Saturn opposition that's coming your way, with a Uranus thing that's happening in your world that's really touching your sun, and like a lightning bolt hitting you, your identity, wanting to liberate something, wanting to switch something up, change it. And this is this whole year for you, all the way in the next year. So you got that in the background on a deeper level. So for me, it's more about right now, slow down, do what you're doing here as in the contemplation. And if you don't know how the answers for certain questions or where to take action, that's fine. The other places where you can play and explore, let yourself do that. Let yourself do that. And I think things come to you. So like knowing when to take action on the next phase of someone's life or your life or certain things there. But you have your chart's lit up right now and will be this year. If you find yourself in the place where it's like, again, harsh transits are happening. They're always, by the way, in the history, there's always transits that are difficult in some whatever. Right? And you have to look at how it's hitting your chart. And then even with the knowledge of that or the conversation you and I are having right now, you even have to step away from that and really gauge what your intuition and gut is telling you what to do.
Right. And so this is, I mean, obviously this is great confirmation because my internal compass was saying, take your foot off the gas, let it sit, do things that as they not become critical, but you know what I'm saying? Piece it out, like take a minute and let the energy in front of you kind of unbunch. It feels really bunched up when I hit the gas. So that's how I've been going about it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Again, like you're calling on a night and a day where, you know, Mars and Pluto are on your nodes exactly right now.
Yeah.
It could be explosive, blowing up an inflammation situation. If it's not and you don't have to do it, then you're doing pretty good actually. In my case, it's like, just lay low, you know.
It feels loud. It feels very loud. And I'm just like, when I need to self-soothe, and I just sit and I get into my happy liminal beyond this world kind of space. I'm just a happy little girl playing in her stuff, and it's amazing.
Yeah. You know, before we get off the phone, just, you know,
Sure.
you'll track Mars here. And once Mars finishes retrograde thing and then goes back into Leo, you know, I have a feeling you're going to have a little bit of movement going on or a little bit of certain type of energy. Maybe you could take a couple steps into something, not fully, you know, but
I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the wave to hit on the surfboard. I felt like that was the one.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Surf through springtime here, my friend. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
And I appreciate you calling and Happy New Year to you.
You as well. I don't ever interact with you. I don't interact with most people, but I've been watching you, and you're cool shit. I love your vibe. So
Thank you, Krystal. Thank you for that.
very grateful.
All right, I'll see you.
All right. Have a good one.
See you. You're gonna be all right, Krystal. You're gonna be good. You're already on it. You're already dialed in, Krystal. You're already dialed. I got it there. I saw it. I saw it, Krystal. I saw it. All right. So I had somebody else calling in. I need to look at chat. Yeah, what an interesting job she had. I was just looking at some like videos on Instagram yesterday of like geology stuff, like how things form, and then they were opening up the rocks. It was really effing cool, you know. I was just what a world. So yeah. By the way, Krystal, you're watching this. You can go look at chat because there's some interesting insights too. People looking at your chart here, but trying to keep things Mars. I'm glad you're pedal off the gas. I'm glad about that. All right, so I'll do another call. I saw somebody from a certain state in where they sell fireworks and a lot of whiskey. You could just, I saw you calling 502 area code. I saw that. So here we go. Hello, Sparkles of Gold. You're on air.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
What do we call you tonight?
So I just have a question. I'm a Cancer rising, and there's some interesting stuff going on, obviously, with Mars, and I just was curious about your insight. I also have Pluto coming for my Venus in Aquarius at 4 degrees. So yeah, I don't know. Just wanted you to take a look and see what you had to say about it.
Sure. No problem. Do we get your birth info? We're going to do it this way?
Yeah, sure.
All right. What is it?
So December 18th, 1989.
All right, give me a second. There's a song that popped in my head.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it reminded me of something. You know the Footloose movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's the love song in there, the Almost Paradise. That's the song.
Oh my
Somebody in
gosh.
chat's going to hate me for this one because I always sing this, but it's around that time, 89, 88, I think.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway, okay, so December 18th, 1989, what time?
7:36 p.m.
And where?
in Madison, Indiana.
Isn't that where Footloose is? No, they're in Iowa or no, that they're based in there. Anyway,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He leaves Chicago. He leaves Chicago and they move to the small towns. Sorry.
Maybe it's Madison.
Do
Who
we have a
knows?
fake
Yeah.
name for you tonight? So I can call
You
you.
can call me Lily.
All right, Lily. December 18th, 1989, 7:36 p.m., Madison, Indiana.
Yes.
And there you are. You are a Cancer rising.
Yep.
At 26 degrees. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was specifically, what were you asking? I don't know if you asked. I can't remember.
Well, I mean, I've definitely like with Mars going through my first house, it's been very physical for me, like just energy. And, I'm, a moon ruled person and Saturn has been coming for my moon. So yeah, I mean, I've been trying to really slow down, but it's scary, I think, because we live in such a fast-paced world. And yeah, I don't know. Any advice you might have on how to deal with that transit?
Okay. Yeah, no. Thank you for saying that and put yourself out there, Lily.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to slow down?
That's the question, right? I think that's what I'm struggling with, I mean, I feel like my instincts are telling me to slow down, but I'm a single mom. And, I have a 15-year-old who, it's funny because and I don't want to get into his chart too much, but, he's having his Saturn opposition and, his Saturn and my moon are just like so intertwined. And I called about Mars, and of course we're talking about Saturn as it goes, but yeah, I feel like slowing down has been what I've been trying to do, but it's scary.
Sorry to hear that, by the way, like the scary, like the difficulty part, that. And it's interesting here what you're saying here too, because you're Cancer rising, you're moon rule person. You mentioned a family member, a kid, and this is tied in, right? This is a way that's playing out here. And when you said your moon and his Saturn are intertwined, he's going through an opposition. So he probably has Saturn and Virgo, maybe is what you're referencing.
It's like right on his ascendant too.
Yeah, and so in a sense, it's on your moon, right?
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
you both are having a Saturn transit together. And and he's at an age of hormonal, who knows? You know what I mean? I know.
Absolutely.
So saying that, I could see the occupation of time, and you have to be constantly engaged as a mother.
Yeah.
And, when do you have time to regenerate or know to let off the gas? Am I correct in saying this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm rethinking my occupation right now, and I'm trying to maybe take some time off of work. And I feel, I know that with this full moon coming up, it's really going to hit my chart pretty, it's going to be pretty close. And it really does feel, I think I was looking at it, earlier this year and thinking like, wow, I think it looked like something different than what it's coming to. And what I'm realizing with a Mars retrograde is that less is so much more, especially with it being in my first house. And yeah, I don't know. I love astrology, and I love watching your videos. So I just
Yeah. Here, Lily, I'll pose a couple things here, that maybe you can take with you. I think
definitely.
if like our past caller and like you, like letting off the gas thing, I think if you're intuitively feeling that, must follow that. You have to somehow balance and manage the parts of your life, right? I also have the mindset too with a Mars retrograde too, that I think Mars has to be worked with and used even if it's going backwards. So there's the letting go part, right? But at the same time, Mars has to do something. Sometimes you have to gauge it for yourself. It's like, is it complete like do nothing, or is like I'm going to let off the gas in this area of my life, right?
Right.
But I still have to do Mars things in my life, and it's how you do those things. Maybe they don't happen as fast, but they happen in a different way. So in a sense, we're talking about you gauging and remediating the situation of like, well, Mars has to have an outlet though, right? It has to,
Yes.
it has to do something. It's just how it does it and when it does it. And sometimes it doesn't, and I say this because if it doesn't have some sort of outlet, it could get aggressive, or aggressive situations come, or caustic situations.
Yes.
Unavoidable, right? You can't run away. Some people are lucky enough to run away or shut their whole life down. You can't, I mean, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, well, how can you do Mars then? Because if it's a thing, how you first started where, your body and vitality, right? And then you got Saturn on your world opposite your moon. So you got two different, so you got major things hitting the like parts of your chart to deal with internal and external. And I feel if you can find something to release, it's like, where can you release in your life? And then there's the part where you let off the gas, right?
Absolutely.
And can you find the dance between the two?
Yeah, because that is the hard part.
Yeah.
That is the hard part. Yeah, because I do feel like I'm dealing with very first house issues, but then with this Mars Pluto opposition that's just like dancing around, it feels very financial too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm seeing that happen. And especially with my Venus there, because I'm like, what is this going to mean? Like, what does this mean? I know what it means in my chart. I've seen it play out, but I don't, it's interesting when the transit is happening because it has so many stories.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to say the simpler the better, simplicity, and really gauging your vitality and your energy, literally, because we're dealing with you as a Cancer rising and a major retrograde there, and it's literally your skin and bones in your body.
Oh yeah, in your tummy.
Well, how can we forget that part of it?
Yeah, I know.
How can we?
It's so real.
Well, the other part of this is too, Lily, I can't assume here, but sometimes in situations like this with Jupiter there and certain things, the stories of the provider, the stories of the protector, the stories as mom or things, or, who's the one who's always taking care of business all the time, taking care of things,
Absolutely.
I don't know what that is in your life, but that is something that's could be under review with this transit too. And, like say somebody else has to take the responsibility in certain places. I can't do it all. I'm tired. I'm fried. Those things as a Cancer rising and being real. And then those conversations you have to have with people, whether it's your kid or other people, when they're so used to you being the person of certain positions.
Yes.
So
that's very interesting that you bring that up, because that has been a conversation around, because it does take a village, but I think that sometimes, single parents, but also I will say Cancers like to be very independent as much as maybe they don't get that type of reputation, but there is this kind of hyper independence. I mean, you're shielding off others. And I have had to really be like, it takes a village to do it all.
Yeah.
That's been a theme. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I get it. Lily, I think you're on the way, it's just, you got to figure out the logistical parts of it, right? Like the logistical parts of where you take a break and how, and then how you let off steam. And regardless of your positions, your mom or whatever else, you are a human being, and first and foremost, and you can't even be your best for other people if you can't fill your own tank up, right? There's that thing.
Absolutely.
And so, again, I hope here talking, at least I can confirm, I can at least acknowledge, confirm where you are, and if you can look for the pressure relief valve in your life and the replenishment place, and to create the space for that, at least it can help you navigate when they come. And this, by the way, this thing, doing that, I think can help you clear up the career part of your chart, because the top of your chart is Mars ruled, the Aries
Right.
chart. We're about to have the last eclipse there. Things can move forward there, but I think at this point, anything that happens, anybody watching is listening, anything that's happening in the angles of the chart, like first house, whatever, it's affecting all the other angles from the 10th, 7th, and the 4th. So it's the base core part of your chart that supports the chart. Okay. Now, before we leave, Lily,
Yes.
first of all, you good with like what we talked about? You all right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just really glad I got through.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'll leave you with this one though.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting. You said like Cancer, they need their space. They need to be independent. And I go, yeah, I get it, because they're a cardinal sign, but I almost feel like that Venus in you is talking here.
Oh my gosh, you got me.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate there, like, yeah, you got a interesting Pluto transit. Even the end of this month into February, you're gonna have some Aquarius stuff come through and touch your Venus. Look for the insights there, especially with the new moon that's gonna happen in Aquarius, 9 degrees here at the end of the month. Mercury's gonna be around there. Maybe you get a little bit of something that pops in that Aquarius world in your head, some flash bulb,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lily. I'm so glad that you called, and you owe it to you
Yeah,
to do what you want to do.
that's right. That's right. And I'm going to listen to that Footloose song.
Oh, man. I don't know. There's weird things pop up in my brain, but
That's okay. I like it.
Happy New Year, Lily.
You too. Thank you so much.
I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
You're knocking on heaven's door. It goes something like that. Almost paradise. That's for you, Patrick. How could we ask for more? Yeah, I think it's something like that. In your eyes. Paradise. Slow dancing at the prom and shit. Yeah, Anna here, she had an amazing laugh, didn't she? She was laughing through it all. It's Jupiter in the first, by the way. Somebody's, even at the toughest points, Jupiter is overruling in the first. They're having a Mars retrograde and they're overwhelmed, but Jupiter is right there. And by the way, Lily, just to mention, Jupiter's coming your way for something, I think, that throws something amazing your way here in the summertime. So saying that, and for the Jupiter and Cancer transit for a year. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of service in that chart. All right. Come on. NYC, saw you calling. Go for it. I saw a Cali number. And I'll do it. I'll keep going here. I'm at 2.5 hours. I got to sum it up. I got to sum this stream up. Oh, you got it, Lily. You got it. Again, I'm out there. If some of you talk to me out there, I'm going to promo myself here after this 2 calls. I'm going to be done. I'll show you my schedule. I got to get off the stream. I went long on this one. I didn't care. I have to. I don't know if I'm going to chapter mark this one, but I'm available for readings. I got some openings in the next week, and then my life changes, and then it's until February. Hello, this is Nicholas Sparkles of Gold. You're on air.
Nicholas, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. This is Mandy. How are you?
I'm great, Mandy. I'm great. Hold on. Stay with me for a second, Mandy.
Okay, sure.
Hey, I'm looking at the camera right now for my streamers. NYC, I see you calling. So after this call, we'll get to you, okay? Mandy?
Yes.
How can I help you? What do you want to talk about? Anything? Proclamation? Something? What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged thing, I think. I was gonna ask you how you feel about Pluto squaring everything in my Scorpio. But I feel like there's sort of, I don't know if you'd call it mutual reception or not, because Pluto's going through Aquarius, which is my 8th house. So there's like the Scorpio 8th house square already.
So you're Cancer rising?
I am.
Yeah. Okay. If you don't have to give me your chart info if you want or don't want, if it's up to you.
You can pull it up if you want.
Okay,
It
let's
might be easier
let's
with a
do it really
visual
quick.
reference.
Let's do it. And what was your name again?
Mandy.
Mandy. All right, give me a second.
Sure.
What day are you born?
November 12th, 1985.
What time?
9:25 p.m. from my birth chart. My birth certificate, sorry.
Got you. Where?
Memphis, Tennessee.
I have a good friend in Memphis. Another astrologer.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he's really good. You know who Cameron Allen is?
No, I don't.
He's an
Or maybe I
amazing
do.
astrologer. He's a good friend of mine. He's a medical astrologer, too. He's knows yoga. I mean, he is an herbalist. He's really good friend of mine.
Nice. I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, his name's Cameron Allen. Shout out to Cameron. November 12th, 1985, 9:25 p.m., Memphis,
Yep.
Tennessee. Wow, it's so fascinating. It's not the same chart as the last person, but there's certain things that are almost identical. I don't know if you looked at the last chart, but
I did. Yeah, I've been having like tummy issues too. And the whole mom responsibility thing.
I see.
I get it.
Yeah.
I feel for her.
Yeah, and moms know, it's a forever thing in a lot of ways. But it doesn't mean that they can't get a break or have to be human, and
Yes.
anyway.
One thing that I learned as a mom is you can't give what you don't have, so you have to recharge your own batteries before you have any energy to give to anything else.
Yeah, no, totally. I feel you on that. And I'm looking here too, because you're wondering about a Pluto transit here.
Yeah.
I can understand, it's interesting with Pluto whenever I'm in a conversation with somebody about it because of what they know about it, what they've read or seen. And it could come across very ominous depending on the information,
Well, see, that's what I'm wondering. Like, am I a total masochist because I'm in some ways sort of excited about this Pluto square that it's gonna like square everything over the next 20 years or so. And like when you were talking about AI a while ago, you said, that AI is never going to be human because we have like that magic. And I think that comes from we can take in information, but then we transform the information and turn it into something. We do something creative with it. And I don't think that AI will ever be able to transform information like humans do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope. I think it's about humans in general of what they use and don't use, right?
Right.
But yeah, I feel you on that, Mandy. And by the way, your Mercury and Uranus is talking to me like there when you're talking to me that way.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I'm acknowledging it. I like it. I'm like, I see where you went. I'm seeing where you go all the time in your head. I'm like, okay, I caught that. You went there. I'm all about it,
Yeah.
And I also, the masochist part is I'm laughing here because you're like, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Why not? Why not look forward to a Pluto squares? I mean, again, squares get us through things. It can be difficult at the same time. They change people. It's the reason why at a new moon we plant something and a week later there's the first quarter square. It's in survival mode. We have to change something with the seed in the ground that's trying to sprout through the dirt, and we have to alter the situation so it can keep growing, and that's what squares do inherently. So, some people are all about it, some people not. Whatever, but I'm glad you're into it. But right now I'm like, oh, Pluto's not, it's not really coming for your stuff, to be honest, until 2026, at least from the Scorpio stuff. Out of anything that is happening here, like immediately is the Mars transit, right? And but it's a Uranus transit that's happening here with you, in the late degrees of Taurus. So, that's the thing, if I were to pay attention to, that is brewing up here now. But once we get farther into spring, it is going to square and be opposite your sun or your moon and then your Saturn. Mm-hmm. And that could be a little difficult depending on the situation. So for me, I don't know how you... let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How are you with the surprises and things that come out of the blue?
I've learned to roll with the punches. I can only control things that I can control. If it's out of my control, then I just deal with it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I used to not be that way. I used to be I did not like surprises, but I can only control so many things, and I'm not going to waste energy on things I can't control.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a good attitude. Yeah, I Pluto's something else, and just remember the way Pluto works when it does, it comes in and out. It's like disappears, it's a working underneath, no one knows it, and then it comes out in situations down the line. Uranus, it does the same thing, but it will show itself in a way, and I think it's really going to show itself in your world here later on. I will preface that saying, Mandy, that there's a lot that the Scorpios have been through since 2018, and then with eclipses that happened in your sign. So, I feel like a lot might have happened in the last what's 2018? We're in 2025 now. The last 7 years, but like the last four or five, I know there's a lot that's happened. So you have a lot of things under your belt. So again, a Uranus transit might not be that much of a surprise or things coming over. Maybe you've gotten to the point of acceptance of what you can and cannot do, So it's just one of these things. I'm looking at your chart too. I also want to tell you that if there's certain things here from now until your birthday that have to do with the past and home and family life and where you come from, your lineage and all that, to take a look at those things, there's been eclipses there for the last year and a half. I think there's some of those themes there'll be around to continue a little bit this year. I just want to say that. And then come your birthday, well, before we get off the phone, let me ask you another question.
Okay.
What gives you pleasure in life?
Honestly, like peace and quiet. Is that super boring?
No, it doesn't matter what I think or anybody else. It's just what gives you pleasure. So you're saying what gives you peace and quiet, yes?
Yeah, peace and quiet, or I can just like the calmness of things. And I'm really a nerd. I like to study, so I think I like the peace and quiet because it gives me an opportunity to learn.
And that gives you pleasure, like learning and
yeah.
Do you have a physical or at least metaphorical place in your life that is your study, that your library, your learning place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm working on the physical place right now, actually. I can get there like mentally and metaphysically. Like I do a lot of meditation and stuff to get my mind where I need it to be sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely working on creating a physical space for that to happen.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think follow that. When your birthday comes this year, I think you're going to have something influx in your learning library place for a while. And for those watching, they might know what I'm talking about here. But there's a certain type of year that's upcoming, your next birthday, that will feed a certain part of your chart that has to do with the places that give you pleasure and creativity. So that's just something to look.
Well, that would be a good surprise.
Yeah, a little surprise, but I actually think that a lot of it isn't a surprise per se. I think because your intention of already building it, but it has to do with the Mars transit in Scorpio that's going to happen later this year, and it has to do with a perfection year. Just even if you don't know what this is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
You're going to have a big fifth house year your next birthday, and so for me, I'm all the way I do charts. So for me, I'm like, oh, all right. Set it up, set up the library, do whatever, or whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah, whatever else gives you pleasure, the simple things, the deeper things, whatever it is, Mandy, Scorpio, Mandy, I know whatever you dial in on, you will build and follow through on, as all Scorpios do in the end. When they find something that they're more than interested in and become obsessed about, hopefully in a healthy way, they can do anything. And I hope that physical peace place, calm, quiet place happens for you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. In the meantime, go make yourself some soup or something, okay?
I will do that.
Go take care of the Cancer belly, will ya? Like just something, something comforting.
Yeah, gentle, easy on the
And
stomach.
gentle, easy. Hey, before we leave, remember, Mars retrograde can be tough. At the same time, it does trine all your Scorpio planets. And then the Saturn and Pisces transits that are happening and the Neptune that's happening the next several months, it trines all your late degree Scorpio planets. There's actually a lot of good stuff there. It's not actually, you know what I mean? Take advantage of the water parts of your chart, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Mandy, Happy
Thank
New
you,
Year to you.
Nicholas.
You're welcome.
Happy New Year.
Yes. See ya.
Bye.
New York, you got to call me and you'll be my last. And Mandy. Thanks, Mandy. Krystal Marie. Oh, thanks, Krystal. 2 super chats. You got it. Thank you. Right on. Lilac Tree. Happy New Year, my friend. Good to see you on the stream again. Who am I missing? I'm sorry, Karen. I acknowledge everybody on here. I think just a lot of people. I don't even know how many people are watching. Is it 2 or 1 million? So, yeah. I try to keep things simple on the phone calls, people, just so you know. Yeah, there's that. Here we go. Hello, it's Nicholas Sparkles Gold.
Hey.
You're on air.
Hey, Nicholas.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Good. You made it through. Thanks for trying.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Am I turned down in the background?
You are turned down in the background.
Sweet,
Yes.
Sweet. Good. What is your name tonight?
My name is Karen, tonight and always.
Karen, tonight and always.
That's it.
That's like a country song, like a country ballad possibly I could write.
I like it.
Yeah. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I'd love to talk about my birth chart if I can give you my
Sure.
information.
Yeah.
And as a double Pisces native, I have my eye keenly on the upcoming eclipses,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love a little assessment from you.
Okay. Wait a second.
Mhm.
What your name? The name forever and whatever. What did you say?
It's just Karen.
Karen, forever and always.
Yes.
When's your birthday, Karen?
It is March 20th, 1976.
Dragon.
Yeah.
What time?
5:26 a.m.
Where?
Sharon, Connecticut.
Sharon. Like the name Sharon?
Like the name Sharon, Sharon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. March 20th, 1976, 5:26 a.m., Sharon, Connecticut. Do you know
That's
your
right.
chart? Or you must know your chart. You mentioned your Pisces, so you must know it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, look at you. Wow. I see. Whoa, you're an anoretic degree person. You're a 29 degree person.
Yes, I am. Sun and moon.
That's right. And some serious psychic places.
Yeah.
You're swimming in
Yeah.
other places while you're in physical body in the world, but then you're like somewhere else at the same time, or I don't know.
That's me.
Venus and Pisces. Welcome to your Venus return, by the way.
Yes, thank you. I cannot wait.
What does a Venus and Pisces do during their Venus return?
dance and hang out too long in the bathtub.
That sounds about right, mermaid. That sounds about right. I get it. You got that Scorpio moon too. You need it, you know.
Yep.
And your skin needs hydration too, and that kind of thing.
For sure.
Let's remember what you just told me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when it comes to your question about the eclipses and certain things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we remember. Well, let me put it this way. Maybe it's another form of a question. Do you have a temple?
Do I have a temple?
Yes.
No. God, I sure would love to have a temple.
Is what would be the name of your temple?
Oh my gosh. Name of my temple.
Let's say not even a name either. It could be something that's different language. Is colors you see or feel. It could be the way you describe the temple.
Lapis Underworld.
Lapis Underworld.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm digging that.
Sounds good, right?
It sounds really good. All right. We're going to remember this. Lapis Underworld is your temple. And how it comes across, maybe it is the bath. Maybe it's the unspoken within yourself that you surf through and swim through. But sometimes it's good to put, well, not just the name, but to know that you have a temple. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So saying that, yeah, can eclipses be weird in your chart this year? Yeah, a little bit. I'm wondering if you got a couple clues to stories, possible scenarios like this in the last couple months.
Well, I mean, I did look at my it was the solar eclipse chart, which I believe is on the 29th, and just this massive pileup in my first house. I think I've got 7 planets in the North Node, all happening in my first house, and being a very watery being, and just a lot of times being just totally disassociated out of my body. Mars retrograding between my 4th and 5th house, and just feeling like I really need to tend to my vessel as a temple, which is, I mean, totally opposite of that what it was that I said. Lapis Underworld, really just needing to be more present, which is I'm just finding really hard at this point in early January. It's hard to picture getting to that point by March, especially just with this, like the Krystal earlier had said, just that feeling of like, hitting the gas and taking the foot off the gas, which is just where I have felt that I've been the past couple of months.
When you were just talking to me, explaining this, I can hear it in your voice, and in between the words, the shortness of breath, and compared to when I asked you to explain and describe your temple. Your breath was different, and the tone of your voice was different.
Yeah.
I just have to say that. Karen, do you know who you are?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. I don't know if other people know who I am, though, is the thing, I think.
Why do you think that What do you think?
Hmm. Um, I think I think on the surface there is definitely a an understanding of who I am on the surface. You know, just dreamy, idealist, Piscean weirdo. But below the surface, you know, I don't know if people really understand what it's like to be a very watery weirdo living in the world these days.
The watery weirdo in the lapis underworld.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting with water because if it were to be seen, you know, like I think a lot of times with water in charts is a trust factor going on, and there's a sensitivity there, and so it's like if there's something underneath, you know, how, you know, can it be seen? And either someone has to understand and move in the languages of water to see the little bits of what's underneath you, or or you show it, but it's how and the vessels that are used. And is it safe to show? Can it even be shown? Because it doesn't work in conventional languages, you know, to swim deep this way,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yes. Yeah. Which feels very much like, you know, Neptune squaring my ascendant right now, and Saturn's there. So there's sort of
Well,
like
yeah, no, you're like, your Neptune's on your sun, and that's squaring, it's conjunct your sun. Am I correct?
it's conjunct my sun.
Yes, you were saying square. I just want to be clear, like with you.
Did I say square?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. Let's like, I just want to, so we're present with the transits, you and I, right?
Mm-hmm.
So saying that, you know, you were explaining, you have these transits hitting your Pisces stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry I interrupted you, not to lose your train of thought.
That's okay.
But you know, the reason why I asked you, like, do you know who you are, is, to me, was the most important thing I was wondering. And because you're having a massive Saturn transit on your ascendant as we speak right now, Neptune's on your sun, you know, it's interesting. There's no boundaries and no filters with Neptune on your sun, a complete dissolving of your sun, which is a rarity. A lot of people with your last day of the 29 degrees, like, this is no one's ever had Neptune on and Pisces on their sun while we're living. You know what I mean? So so there's that. But to ask you to know who you are, the reason is because not only Saturn in your world, but it will hit that degree too in a great way to your sun and moon. So for me, okay, it's good that you know who you are, but then there's the other parts externally or showing that. I think Saturn could bring form to that, almost bring a different kind of vessel for you to show a little bit what's underneath, or there's an external situation that comes your way that is solid for that, where they'll ask you to define it. So it's like, even me asking you on this phone call, I said, do you know who you are?
Yeah.
Or I asked you, what's the name of your temple? It's not like, hey, what are you doing next Friday? Like,
right.
We're having a deep, we're existential. We're like, you know what I mean? So it's like those types of ways of someone or the world coming to you in a healthy, definable Saturnian way that gives form to this watery stuff is what's coming to me, you know, and your moon. So it's, and the Mars transit too that you're having, there is, I feel, a redefinition from a Mars and Saturnian point of view, and then the dissolving of Neptune. I mean, I hope, if I was some other people, maybe with some of the similar stuff you have, is like, do they have a tether to the dock? Because they could easily, you know what I mean, like, sail off.
Yeah. Which is That's a funny analogy because I actually also have the royal fixed star Shiat. Uh, gosh, is on my ascendant, which I have had described to me as a feeling of just getting so far out to sea and then just having the tide take me back in and then just being shipwrecked, um, which makes really perfect sense.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's interesting too because it's like, what's your relationship to being shipwrecked compared to other people? They're like, I don't want to be shipwrecked, but we know the mermaids are calling the people over to get shipwrecked because they have to go through the metamorphosis.
Hmm.
Right? If you're taking in that point of view, I'm again, break down into pieces, to nothing, come back. I mean, it's the ultimate Piscean story in the end.
Hmm.
But again, for me, looking at a Mars transit happening in your fifth, hitting your Saturn, the stuff that's happening with Saturn on the other end. I think here, the farther when we get past the eclipses, which is, I would say, yes, it's kind of an interesting, difficult place here because of Saturn and the Sun being together on the eclipse and the retrogrades that are happening. But
Hmm.
can you swim through and get there and chill? Can you get there? Because on the latter degrees or the later degrees, when Mars is moving forward, and by the way, we're paying attention to what Mars in Cancer is doing, right? And when it goes into from 29 to 17 degrees, it's hitting your Sun and Mercury in Pisces. And then when it comes back moving forward, hopefully we have something there that you could feel to take your own version of action, right? And you can
Mm-hmm.
do this creatively because it's moving through your fifth house and relating to your first house.
Hmm.
And eventually at the end, when Mars is going through forward 29, then you can have Neptune's there. Saturn eventually is going to hit that place. You have like a massive grand water trine movement happening in the first, ninth, and 10th and 5th parts of your house. And to me is the place to put it together and move through as just a redefining of that, possibly of your identity in a sense of how you stand, or at least how the world's seeing you. But again, I'm happy that you know who you are. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and now, wow, this is so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Because just thinking about the Sun and Saturn being together and the questions that you've asked me, which for me are very easily definable, relatable, easy to answer questions for me personally, but I think that there is just that Saturnian feeling of um, just like slowness to show that to the world as my son wants to, you know, and that sort of, that authority over the true self. Um, makes sense. Makes absolute sense.
yeah, it's again, we can look at many different ways of Saturn works, and it could be the multiplicity of it all, how Saturn works, not just one way, especially being in a mutable sign like Pisces. There
Hmm.
is the difficulty in the contemplation and the slowing down and the restriction. And then there's in the journey of that, can someone accept what that is? And then you're accepting the temporary rule sets involved. And then it starts to change into form where one realizes, but it doesn't mean you're jumping out of the door. You're still in the cave,
Yeah.
it's still there. But that's why instead of the cave,
Hmm. Hmm.
we call it the what?
We call it the lapis underworld.
That's right. And so, again, down the line later in the spring here, when we're hitting 28, 29-degree places
Hmm.
with Neptune and Saturn, we're going to have Mars is going to do this. I'm interested to see how this plays out for you. But again, definition works in different ways. Sometimes it is like the authority figure, like Saturn comes in someone's life and then it's in your first house, like, oh my God, my body, I'm lethargic, I can't even move, like all these different ways. And then it's like, can we find the way eventually with it? Not just the understanding, but then again, with anything Mars and Saturn, it's eventually the application for me, So I'm so glad that you called. You're like my last caller, and Karen,
Yes,
there's beauty everywhere.
indeed.
And to me, in the most mysterious of places, the most undefinable with words, through colors and sound,
Hmm.
through the senses, and how we as humans want to transcend but really connect with the world and with ourselves. And I think mystery leads us always. And your chart is one big, beautiful mystery. Don't ever change in that way.
Yeah, yeah. I like, I like being a mystery, but at some point, it feels like the time has to be right to just like unfurl your freak flag and let it fly. So that's really what I'm hoping the eclipses have in store for me.
Well, I hope that happens for you too, Karen. And it's a good intention to have. And the best things we've seen in this life, we're inspired that are mysterious. They do come in the form. They come in the form through creativity, through artistic measures, through song, through everything, right? And
Right.
in the ways that it comes in to be unleashed in the world, it's ebb and flow and tension and release. And so will have your release, Karen. You'll have it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope
Thanks
so
a lot,
too.
Nicholas.
You're welcome, Karen. Now you got a temple. Well, a name to your temple. You've had it the whole time.
Yeah, I just gotta, I have to own the temple.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Karen, Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Three-hour live stream, why not? I'm a 29-degree person in some ways. In my chart. Everybody you call tonight. A lot of water in the charts tonight. There was a lot of card angles, but if we noticed the charts tonight, they were very cardinal, very mutable. So it makes sense. I appreciate everyone who calls and puts themselves on the line. I don't know what I'm saying in the moment. I got to look back at this later. I don't think I'm going to do chapter markers on this. I have to do at least with the phone calls. And then hopefully I don't get the copyright strike. But I appreciate everybody calling tonight and all the comments in the chat. Hopefully when this post processes and I don't get a copyright strike and I have to edit something out, I don't lose the chat, but there's a possibility that I'm going to. Oh, well, that is what it is. And for those who were on the phone with me, you can go look back at the chat because I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure there has been some beautiful insights in there. And again, this is a phone call on YouTube. There's other things that I'm seeing, by the way, when I'm looking at the charts that I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing other stuff and I'm just like, those are for longer readings and more intimate conversations with people. But pretty good tonight. Everyone was very respectful. It looks like in chat and on the phone with me, so I appreciate it. So now let's sum it up, huh? Sum it up. Get a life. No. Let's sum it up with a card pull. And so much I didn't talk about, but I talked about some things. I mean, the Jupiter and Cancer transit. I talked about Uranus. Some of the things that happen with the outer body planets and the eclipses. I did the best I could. I wasn't trying to get like a... so we'll see. So saying that, for those who watch my streams, they know I pulled from this Delphic Oracle card deck. Usually pull a card. Do I say this card is for the year? I don't know. Let me actually feel this one out. And by the way, constellationofwords.com, for anybody doing some basic fixed star exploration, you can go to constellationsofwords.com. It's a good place to start. There's a lot of people doing fixed star work. Najee at Orphic Astrology, I'm a big fan of. I'm on their Patreon. There's a bunch of people. Ryan Butler, he knows his fixed stars. There's different ways of doing fixed stars. It's been very popular the last so many years, which is great. But a lot more references to all that. I work with them privately, and I have a lot of references. I do look, but I don't talk about it. Oh, Karen, you're in the chat. Right on, Karen. Dreamer. You're just a little dreamer. Yeah. All right, what's this about? What is this about? I am lucky. What an incredible year I've had on this channel. Slowly growing. I'm going to put up links after I pull this card about what my agenda is for the next 2 months. If you are watching, please go to the front of my channel. I did a rising sign forecast for each sign. Give me the traffic, share it, subscribe, hit the bell for sure for when I go live. You could see my links to sign up for my newsletter. I sent one out today. I'm going to be in Australia January 13th until the first week of February. I'm going to be in the Brisbane and Gold Coast area. If you are in those areas, you're watching live or you're there, I actually have some spots to do face-to-face one-on-one readings. I found a nice sweet spot of an affordable price to take care of myself and you because I know about the currency exchange. I will be around. Email me, contact me. You'll see it Sparkles of Gold at Outlook or GoldieSparkles at Outlook.com. You can go to the copy there. I'm gonna be there, and I need to take a break. And at the same time, I don't mind doing readings. I'll be doing some videos probably from there, some fun ones talking about the transits. But after 4 years pre-COVID of grinding for hours on a computer, I need to go replenish my world. And I have some ideas, things I've been waiting to do for years here, and I've made other moves in my life. So by the time February and March comes, not only are you going to get more live streams, I'm going to have guest stars. I have other interesting things in line and a lot more time creatively for me to feed this channel and my practice, okay? So, yes, Quite Bright, I am pals with Cassandra. I know her from the past as a colleague. She's there, yes. But thank you for mentioning that, Quite Bright. So this year, the truth, myself and yourself, the upcoming revolution, the adherence to one's personal code and truth, the crows, the sun and the moon, family. Accept old age. Some Saturnian shit right there. Number 113. Accept old age. Cicero has written a good book about old age and its benefits, for each age has its own strengths and weaknesses. Well, sure, age has its downsides. It also has its benefits. You can develop a calmness based on more experience in life. Largely, old age depends on what you built in youth. So pursue knowledge, live healthy, seek the company of good people, and your old age will allow you to reap the fruits you were sowing. I can only advise to read Cicero's book, Cato, on old age. Look at the staff that's in his hand. They're out there. eBay, Etsy. You can find this deck. Huge deck. I love this thing. And it's always dialed in when I pick here on a 3-hour Happy New Year call-in live stream. I want to thank everybody who stuck with me this whole time, who have supported my channel. All my Patreon members, thank you. My channel members who pay every month. You'll have a mid-month video coming up soon. I am going to be pushing my Patreon and my channel memberships on YouTube here very well to help me. I am more going to come there to feed. And if you have any recommendations or any things you'd like to see me do, get a hold of me through my Patreon, and so on and so forth. There's things happening on YouTube that are going to fundamentally change YouTube very soon here. One is there's going to be dubbing on the channel. That means I'll make a video and it could possibly be dubbed by YouTube in many different languages. There'll be people listening to a voice. This is where AI comes in a good way. Will translate what I said into their language. That is on the way. That can kick in at any time. The community tab page of YouTube is about to change. And let's see if I can do it here. If I can show you this before I leave. It's a long stream tonight. And here is my page. You can see here. But here is my playlist for all the rising signs here. Please click on it. Please share it. Give me the traffic. I need it. I'm trying to build it. The community tab here is usually where I post things for my members privately and for those who follow my channel and subscribe. This is about to change. It actually might turn into a mini social media feed where certain people besides myself can post. I don't know how they're doing this. It's about to launch at any time. There's a couple other things that they're doing. In the meantime, the algorithms have changed. I'm slowly growing my channel. I will be doing different types of videos because I have more time to edit. All of that. If you want to support me, obviously you can get a session from me. Okay? I'll put that in chat. But if you want to support me, please subscribe. Go to my Patreon. I have questions for all of you down the line. Do I create a membership site where we have our own website? Do I have enough people to do that? There's a bunch of things. Do we do something collective together as a unit and a group that support the community? These are part of, like volunteering online, in person, or online, where we condense our power to help a particular group of people, an association. I don't know. These are things that are in me, and I have a feeling they're going to start to play out in June. It's in my intention to do this. And so there's a bunch of things, but I have to develop the core parts of the community. This is my Jupiter-Saturn square happening here in my chart, and I want to fulfill this. So saying that, here in the chat, I will put my booking page. I'll drop it in the chat. I'm doing year-ahead readings, so on and so forth. You could see that. Again, I have to have a certain amount of followers. I can really work the YouTube membership part of this, of what they're doing. There's the financial parts of all this. Another conversation, but you know my intentions now. The way I started this stream was to talk about the fulfillment and engagement with people, and to them feel at least acknowledged and confirmed on YouTube when I make these videos and on one-on-one consultations. And then in certain moments, can you find a groundedness and empowerment and a plan to at least find guidance in a path in your life, regardless of the challenges, at the right times? That is the code I work with. That is who I am as Nicholas. That is my deal, right? So It can happen in many different ways, and I just listed some of those ways. Okay, so saying that, let us head out of here. Whew. Can't believe I did everything I wanted to do here. Patience with me. Patience. And that's who I am. Sparkles of Gold. Follow me on Threads and Blue Sky. All those links are there. Instagram, where I do a lot of posting, and so on and so forth. I have to have my own conversation with the Google AI bot and train it. Can't believe I did that. But I gotta mess with that more. In the meantime, have a good week. Be careful of Mars, Pluto. Be good to you with that stuff. Know when to apply and when to leave in situations. It doesn't have to be crazy, okay? It doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that way. Thanks for the super chats, y'all. Woo. Patrick, we're going to talk. Everybody in chat, thank you. Esmeralda, I'll go through the chat. Yeah, good to spend the year, the beginning with you. Got some openings here in the next week, and then I disappear. February is going to be a massive time. If you want to book then, I might even book while I'm in Australia. I just got to figure out the time differences. If you know anybody there, send them my way. I'm down. Okay? Old age. That's some Saturn stuff right there. Nothing you could do with time. That's what we do, you know, as astrologers. You're just tracking us. We're time trackers. And I wrote on my email, then you got to step away from time. Step away from the scenarios, the predictions. Step away from the hearsay and the questions and the analyzation and the data. And then you go to the timeless. It doesn't matter. To balance it all out, the place that's holy. You're holy. And it's not about the questions. It's not about trying to figure something out. It's just about what is. Existence. However you do this in your world, it's, I think, the balance of time and the timeless. Everything and the nothing. But such the bombardment of the mind. Remember the holy place. You are the holy place. I mean, you have it all, always. the love place. The empowering place. Promise yourself that, will you?